All right, let's go to meeting order. Please rise for flag salute. The microphone's on, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. It's a do-over? Okay. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call, please. Mike's on. That's wrong. Let's see the flag. Okay.
Can somebody hand me the agenda?
Oh,
All up, including mine.
There you go. Okay.
Mayor Caucus.
Here.
Mr. Ranieri.
Here.
Mr. Lobenstein.
Here.
Mr. Farrell.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly. Here. Mr. Root.
Here.
And it's
Mr. Long.
Mr. Long with a C.
That's correct.
Okay. And Mr. Bayshore.
Here.
Mr. Dioria.
Here.
And who else is here?
Mr. Knight.
And Mr. Root.
Still here.
And I'm here, I'm sorry.
Mr. Wozok.
Mr. Rosen.
Present.
Anyone else? Did I see police here a little while ago?
The chief, the police weren't here, but they've gone.
Oh, they're helping some guy out. He wanted
Okay.
a vehicle.
Well, we'll get them come back. Okay, public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner. One, posted on the bulletin board of the clerk's office on January 3rd, 2019, and two, emailed to the retrospective courier post on January 3rd, 2019. We're going to skip a few things since we have people here. Mr. Knight, you want to we'll go right into your agenda? Okay, so everyone should have a copy of some proposed code changes. I think it's always good to update our codes, but at the same time, we have to, what is our intent, and how do we interpret the current codes? So I guess that's also part of our thing. So do you have a copy? Do you want to just go through it real quickly with us? Okay, current code. I'm going to read and you tell us why we're doing it. Change of use certificate, whenever this occurs, a change of use in the building, even if no variance is required, and the change of use is from a permitted use other than permitted use within a zone, a certificate of use is required. In such event, no certificate of continued occupancy is required, as set forth in subsection T2 above, shall be required. The provision in no way relieves the applicant from any other zoning interpretation that authorizes may be required. What's the problem with that?
Well, the problem is that, as I indicated here in the change proposal,
Mhm.
since 2007 that I've been here, it's never been used, it's never been issued.
Okay,
And it should be removed due to the fact that, one, we're not enforcing it. We would have to enforce this or delete it. And I see just deleting it due to the fact that if you have changes, I've indicated here, from one approved use to the other, for example, a pizza shop to a pizza shop,
Okay.
that's saying you don't need a CO inspection. That's what this code is.
but whenever we have a change of occupancy, don't we require a CO?
Well, this is, it's sort of.
So are these people still being at least inspected with a change of occupancy?
Right, in other words, they are.
Okay, so this you might say is redundant. This is a redundant?
Well, the actual use
Doesn't change.
inspection is not really there. They're just, because if it's a pizza place going to a pizza place, the actual use
But we still need to
inspection
go-
could last 15, 20 years before, it goes out.
But the new owner triggers us going back in there though, right?
Well, that's the issue with this. It kind of contradicts the section where it says change of ownership or occupant under the continued occupancy. And again, we've never been, again, since I've been in 2007, we've never utilized this code.
Okay, so the only thing I would say is, so if someone has a business and the ownership changes or just so it's a pizza place and the name doesn't change, we still should be able to go, there should be something that triggers us to go in there.
There is under the certificate of continued occupancy.
So this is redundant.
This is really contrary. In other words, somebody can say, well, I went from a pizza place to a pizza place. Why do I need a code? I want to change the use certificate.
Okay, so how do we do a deletion? Do we just have a,
You're just doing a, ordinance.
It's just an ordinance that- okay.
What you're doing is pretty much come look a lot like this email, and it will just, all fall out.
Okay.
Does it have to come before the planning board to
No.
change the use? If it goes from the retail to like the office building?
no, nobody says if it's still part of the ones that are listed. If it's a pizza place or retail, they're all listed in the same thing, correct?
Correct. In other words, what we're doing now.
If it's not permitted use, they have to come in front of the zoning board.
So
So
exactly. If it's permitted use, and again, going from the same use, pizza shop to pizza shop, or pizza shop to a barber shop,
Which is
all
allowed.
permitted use, they don't have to come before the board, but they have to get zoning approval, and they also have a certificate of continued occupancy.
Okay.
So that way, any change of use or
so
occupancy,
change of use certificate is just
it's really,
outdated.
like I said,
Okay.
it's never been utilized in the 12 years.
So could you help us out, at least have a word that just says we're deleting this ordinance?
Yeah, well, certainly,
Yeah.
once we, you
Yeah.
guys agree.
So we're okay with that, that it's redundant, we don't use it?
Will it help you, Keith?
Oh, absolutely. Again, I believe.
It'll eliminate
Something
potential
wrong
argument.
with
Do
it.
we need to vote on this?
We can't do that tonight because we
No,
have.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we have to vote on
All right,
it.
so we can do this for
Yeah, May's meeting.
next meeting.
It's only a deletion.
Yeah, we think this would be easier, but ordinance.
Okay.
But Keith, anything-
I just believe that it'll solidify our position with no code, with there's no content.
Okay, so they could use this,
Right, so in other words,
but people don't really read the code that well.
well, nobody ever has.
Okay.
But again, if they need to hear one from the other,
I don't know.
Just clean it
We
up.
eliminate that by deleting it,
Okay.
so let's do it.
Yeah, and that way we'll ensure the fact that anytime there's a change of owner or occupant, we'll do an inspection.
Right.
The inspection reveals a lot.
I'll be brief on the next one. So 28119, determination of buildings unfit for human occupancy. Delete the entire section. Codes for issuance of notice of are provided in the property maintenance code. So this is redundant again. I skipped all the way down to why you want to get rid of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, in other words, if you look at it and read it, it indicates that I need something from 5 residents and more or less, that I'm holding a hearing.
But no one's ever challenged you. You're just cleaning things up.
Right, in other words, if you read here, the rules of evidence, and I don't conduct a hearing. That's what you have in the.
Yeah, but this one, there's a lot of stuff in there that never goes.
So an attorney read this, he could say you didn't
So
provide
I
it.
have a hearing, right.
And I kind of think, again, I'm not the attorney.
So this is previous to the maintenance code.
Well, this is something that's been there, maybe one time it was a good idea, but I don't know when, because the fact that you're having the public officer or code enforcement officer holding a trial for who's the one that's going to be prosecuted.
Oh, no.
In other words,
It's
it's
like
like,
where someone jumps into an abandoned home, it's for sale, they sneak in, they won't leave, and if there's no hot water, there's no water.
But there's another ordinance that,
Covers
in other
that.
words, it's covered now, you take it to municipal court, I've never held a hearing or a.
And I don't think you should.
Nor should I, because if I'm prosecuting somebody, it certainly shouldn't be.
so let's delete that. Everybody agrees there's another code that covers it.
Yeah. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right, wow, you went through the deletions first, huh?
Yeah, I figured they'd be.
Okay, so current code, permit required. No person shall erect or construct any garden type shed, similar structure or less that is 100 square feet. Okay, this is, okay, proposed change. Delete 100 square feet, insert 200 square feet. Has changed, the New Jersey, we looked at this.
This is the one we looked at that you didn't like the way it was worded.
The only part that, once again, I run into complaints, neighbors against neighbors, where someone erects something and it, we can't, we want them to at least not put it in their front yard. Like, we should never have a question. A shed should not be allowed in the front yard.
Absolutely.
So where does it say? So a corner property is deemed to have 2 front yards. I don't see sheds in front yards.
Right.
Now, if we delete this entire section, or we're only deleting the word 100 square feet and changing it to 2.
We're only deleting 100 to 200. And again, the reason for that is, so everybody understands, March of last year, the state Uniform Construction Code used to say you needed a permit for over 100 square feet, a UCC state permit. March of last year, they upped it to 200 square feet. So if the state is saying 200, we're saying 100, technically if somebody puts up a shed for 150, says no permit's needed.
Okay, so I'm okay that someone with a 200 square foot puts a shed up. How do we make sure they don't put a shed up in the front yard?
It's right
Or
there.
too close? So they still, but they're not applying that anymore now. Are they still applying for a zoning permit?
They will still apply for a zoning permit.
Okay.
But again, the issue, as you indicated, Mayor, is the fact that it shall be placed no closer than 10 feet from the street line. And I don't believe it's our intent to have a shed in the front yard.
No, we do not.
According to this, they can.
So we want to change, we want to delete the 100 and make it 200.
Right.
We want to delete the shall be closer than 10 feet. I'm under the impression that sheds should be in rear yards and no closer than 10 feet from property lines.
Right, 10 feet,
We
we
agree with
say
that?
an ad shall not be placed in the front yard.
That's perfect.
Okay.
That was the issue we had the last time we talked about it. Now, let's talk about sheds. Now, garages, carports, they are all in rears of properties also, correct?
Right, there's a section of accessory buildings.
That are in the rear.
Yeah.
Well, it has to be certainly
Yeah,
in the front.
well, I'll have to visit those codes to make sure. Again, Mr. Rubin indicated that we're going to do 6, so
Yeah.
that's why I mean,
But since we're looking at sheds, garages, accessory buildings,
well, that's.
everything should be in the rears.
Right.
As long as we all agree to that, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't want, or do you think a carport can be in the front of the house?
Carport?
Yeah,
Well, it's usually on the side.
it should be side or rear. We call the rear from the corner of the front property.
Right, front wall.
We already did. Right, we raised the height to 18 feet, didn't we?
This section is just exclusively for sheds.
Okay.
And now there's another, a third thing in there. It says use groups R2, R3, R4, and R5. Those use groups are residential, which the other use groups you have are commercial, business. So again, if you read this, it doesn't indicate if you have a business use group that you need a permit for a shed.
Should be.
Should be. Sure, you should be, again, my opinion.
Well, then let's, I agree.
Now, when you're restricted by putting it in R2, R3, or 4, or 5, if you take that out, then it's everybody.
Now, the only reason I would, okay, let me just remember something. We had Wawa come in for a variance, to put a shed up.
Yep.
We all approved it because the location they were putting on it made sense. They wanted to keep the shovels for cleaning and stuff like that. But I would agree that one of the problems, I'm not gonna say it out loud because I am taped, but there are other businesses out there that are putting sheds all over the place. Now, once again, you understand site plan, they're putting sheds in parking spaces that were for parking spaces. So I am a little more leery giving businesses the okay to just put sheds up. Is there any way we could say they can as long as they're, what's to preclude them from, like I said, there's restaurants in our town that have taken parking spaces and put sheds and things like that, you know.
Yeah, well, first of all, 200 square feet or more will need a UCC permit, state construction permit. And they would also need zoning. But the issue is, again, if you don't have it in there, say they want a 150-foot square.
They're not allowed to have it right now.
Well, it doesn't cover use group C or B, commercial or business.
But if it doesn't allow, if it's not, so you would say someone could say, well, I just ran into a situation in the town where they said it was an apartment complex. In the apartment complex, they don't have in their sign ordinance anything about apartment complexes. So the zoning officer interpret that as, well, There's no, if it's not in the ordinance, then you're not allowed to have a sign. But that was how she interpreted
Yeah,
it.
well,
And
and
I
I,
saw an argument from the attorney for the apartment complex to say, I'm not restricted, you intentionally restricted these people, you didn't restrict me.
Okay.
So then I can do whatever I want.
So we should put the secret, all groups in there.
in other words, as I indicate, just to delete the
Right.
use groups.
That's
So that means it doesn't,
That means my stuff.
it
Applies
doesn't
everywhere.
have selective.
So now they're allowed to have it, but they still have to get a zoning permit.
They got to get a zoning permit, and they also have to, again, from the 10 feet from the street line, they have to move it back.
Okay, so rear yards, how do we do a commercial? Commercial is a parking lot. Okay, let's take the Cherry Hill Mall. They want to decide to put a shed up. Where could they put that?
We're not worried about that, I mean,
But my point though is that when you create an ordinance, you're creating a potential problem.
can't you just put commercial, if it's other than that, anything outside of those parameters?
Yes, come
comes
on.
under-
Well, I put, this is what I proposed, shall not be placed in the front yard of the property as determined by the zoning officer.
Okay. So you leave
If
it,
it's a
so
commercial.
they could put it on a parking spot, you'd say no.
Right. I mean, again.
It has to be 10-foot setback, so it's not going to be right against it.
That's a perfect way to word it, if you guys did put expression,
Okay.
well, you use the front yard, but it's not a front yard, it's commercial, so, but that's still, we all know it's not what the word.
It's not the intent of the ordinance.
And again, what you're saying is that we don't want them in the front.
Yeah.
Right.
So if I make the determination, which have arguments, no, it says the front, but you can put a shade, but it has to be behind the.
I don't mind the one with the shed. I think we granted them a variance, which was really ridiculous to make them come in and literally put a 100 square foot shed.
Well-
But at the same time, they weren't 10 feet off the property line, but there was nothing behind it. It was the RY behind it, so it really wasn't a
It
big
could
deal.
be a huge eyesore if people put it in the wrong spot.
Yes.
You know, it's better to-
It's kind of like these clothing bins. They take the parking spots up and things like that. You understand?
The issue with the Wawa was it exceeded the impervious coverage, that's why.
Oh, it was another issue.
Yeah, because.
Which we need to-
The whole Wawa complex is mostly.
Okay, so the way it's right now, we all pretty much agree then?
Yeah, I
Okay.
got a good change.
Good?
And again, you understand that there always can be situations arise that, we're not seeing now, then they require adjustment in the future. But these are things I can see, just one.
So they're still getting zoning permit when they
There's
put
no
a
way to get a
shed.
zoning permit, no matter what district, no matter what use, and it can't be in the front yard. So,
And are we 10 feet rear and back, or 5 and 10? What's our
We're
setback?
5 feet.
5 feet from the rear,
5 feet property line, all the way around.
all the way around?
Right.
No, it's always been 5, right?
Yeah, it's 5.
That's not bad. 5's not bad. If it's in the rear. No, only sheds.
Yeah, yeah.
We're talking about sheds.
Yeah,
So if you put a shed up, because you can pick a shed up and move the shed.
Yeah.
Our problem is when people build garages, and they build it on the property line.
I have a question. You're on the end of the street, you have you have two fronts.
Yes, corner property.
What dictates where the front of your house is? Is it the back edge or is it the front edge? You know what I'm
You want to
saying?
answer this or want me to answer it? You want this-
No, I,
So corner property,
right.
the house is built here. So the front door could be here, or the front door could be here. The backyard is basically that. That area is the backyard. Because this is still the front yard, this is a road. And this is a road where cars are driving. So if you put a fence up, you would put the fence there. Because think about it. What's that?
You're coming down a road, this is the house sitting there.
Yeah.
This is your yard, this is your yard. If you put a shed here,
You can't.
basically, you gotta be behind it.
You gotta be behind that line.
Both-
One of the
okay, right.
changes in the ordinance is that the corner property shall be have two front yards.
Yeah.
So both those.
No, I know it says it, I'm just saying it and saying it.
Yeah, no. Because you think of it this way, the neighbor over here, that's his front yard. How could this be a front yard and that not be a front yard? And the same thing on this property over here.
Exactly right.
How could this be his front yard, but that's not his
I
front
agree,
yard?
I agree with
Now
that.
granted, we granted variances and allow people to move their fence out there because this person doesn't care, because he might be facing that way. You know what I mean? And things like that. Okay. That's good then? Okay, next one. Current code, none. So this is an addition. The zoning permit shall be required for any swimming pool, steps, deck, structures, or any other addition to the property that would involve property line setback requirements. Wow. Right now, we don't require them?
Well, we have been, but we don't have an ordinance really indicating. Because what happens is the building subcode official, if he gets a permit for that, he's looking for zoning approval.
Okay.
Before somebody builds steps that are not in conformance or a swimming pool, we have language that says you have to get a permit for a swimming pool, but it doesn't specify zoning to make sure the setbacks.
Okay, so this language is, this insert is at the beginning of the zoning application, so people know this.
Right, in other words, so the fee is structured to what we have been
Okay.
using.
Do you want to create a separate application for a swimming pool application? Because some towns do that.
We already did.
Oh, you have that?
Yep,
Great.
right.
So the only question I would have is, a copy of a property survey shall be provided with the application. So that's the number one thing. They provide it. Do we want a true, so we need to have meets and bounds is what you want. You can't just have a,
Right, in other words, if people are replacing a driveway, for example, they require a zoning permit, but again, it's not a real issue because as long as you replace an existing driveway. The issue becomes when you're putting in a swimming pool, steps, or shades, or anything that would affect.
how do we know the driveway's in the right spot?
Well, we do require a certain.
Okay, we do.
Right.
Because we had a few, we just had it happen, a guy put a driveway in the wrong spot again.
Oh, yeah.
On Payne Avenue?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, he did it without a permit.
No. I think this is a good idea. The only thing is, do you find that people don't have surveys? Is that a big impediment?
Well, it is with some people.
Yes?
You know, they
I
don't
have
have
a
a
question
survey.
too. The survey, do you require it to be a current survey, or do you care whether it's 20 years old from when they bought the house?
Again, there's no language saying how old it is.
Do we?
Do you want it to
But it
be?
must be, you know, like, I'll give you an example. People get surveys and then make additions, and the survey doesn't reflect the addition.
I mean,
Well, zoning officers have the latitude to say, I need a better survey because you built an addition on your house.
right, I mean, again, would a date be,
I don't think you need a date, because if someone shows, if I had a house 20 years ago and I totally changed it, I give you a survey of the old house, like, that's not a survey of my property.
It's not a current
So, but
survey.
you don't want to put a time limit, because if I haven't touched it, the survey from 4 years ago is the same.
But the zoning officer has that latitude to say, this is not accurate because you put an
You
addition.
have a totally different house, or a totally different property.
and that's basically what happens sometimes. I said, this survey you provided from 1975 does not reflect the current
Right,
issues
yeah,
you
but
want.
it could be if you didn't touch it, it's just as
Well, yeah.
one you got today.
Now, people don't complain about getting surveys, but it'll help us
Try to
because,
make a judgment without one.
well, that's the point, and the fact that so many people have put things on the wrong side of the property line is unbelievable.
Oh, it's, and fences are the biggest. Fences are really,
Yeah.
Should all these issues be complaint driven or just casually walking by looking at people?
Well, I believe this is complaint driven because people are complaining to
Should
me.
we approach it that way?
And that's what I say to everybody. Whenever they say, oh, I gotta go get a survey, it's gonna cost me $250. I'm gonna say, well, don't you wanna put the fence on your property? If you put it on your neighbor's property, he can say, it's mine, it's my fence now.
That's the best $250 you spent.
It's the best target.
well, what I find extremely, so I say interesting, is the fact that you thought, would you buy the house? Yes.
People buy houses all the time without surveys.
Exactly. I said, well, did you get a survey? No, I don't need one. I said, one of the biggest purchases of your life,
Yeah.
and you don't know where the confine of your property. For example,
Are title companies not requiring that anymore? Is that?
No, no, the time.
No, I mean, depends on the title company, I just bought, that's not long that we needed one.
They
I
require.
don't know, you want to know which one we forget one.
Okay.
I didn't have a.
Well, you would wanna know easements, correct? You would wanna know.
You would know Chris stands.
You told me, I didn't.
you would want to know what you purchased. For example, if you purchase a car, well, here's a car. Well, do you have a title for it? Well, I didn't really need the title. I'm just going to put my tags on the driveway. No, you want some proof of ownership.
And no one's
We-
forcing these guys.
We had an individual that purchased the property, went to settlement, and he thought the attached lot, they get the survey, went with the house. And at settlement, he was told by the realtor that the lot went. So at settlement, they said, no, that doesn't go with it. So I asked the gentleman, I said, why don't you walk away? He said, I was in an unfortunate position where I needed a house, and so I bought the house without a lot. But again, if you're purchasing, you want a survey up front to know exactly what you're buying. You're spending a large amount
Title
of
companies
money.
don't always.
Yeah, I just think that that's gonna be the biggest cycle now, people not having surveys and current surveys.
But it's a bigger survey when or a bigger issue when they do something without a survey, and now they've got an issue.
So I have a question. Do you believe we're close to a point where we can start to scan documents? And I'm gonna give you an example. I'm doing a sign on Cherry Hill. The owner can't find a survey. I said, you bought the building, this is a doctor, bought the building and you don't have a survey? No. So Cherry Hill allows you to do a Google map. It's only a sign, which is amazing to do allow, but the way their ordinance is written, as long as you meet certain criteria. Well, doesn't the zoning officer, when she types in the address, a survey pops up from a previous application? It popped up and showed a survey. She sent it to me so that I could mark on the survey the 10-foot setback for that. Are you looking, have you seen that? Any thoughts about that? Do you see that as the evolution to scan? Because then, the new property owner, we actually have a survey for that person. I'm not saying, they didn't offer it to me until they went to check the records. They had that, which are just, I don't mean to digress too much, but what's your thoughts on this kind of thing?
Well, just to give you some insight, Jim knows, we got the, what's called the zoning plan portion.
Mhm.
Prior to that, we were putting everything into code enforcement, and I wanted it separated, and they have a
You're talking about software?
software, correct. The issue being, for example, like when variances are passed,
Yes.
Joyce has to actually look through her files to find something. Of course, this will go from the state court, but it allows her to attach documents to the planning and zoning, so the property now has a history electronically stored. And also, you know, if we could add surveys to this, it would be in the planning and zoning.
Okay. I mean, it does take, I know it takes time and labor to do all this stuff. but-
Well, yeah, I mean, we're progressive with it now that we've got this, but again, we're separating it where it belongs, not throwing the zoning in with the code enforcement program. So you're looking through, and you can't attach documents. With this, you
We can start to attach, yeah. I was in another municipality, and they actually had a scanning fee, where they said after the application was completed, you paid $7, and someone must come in and scan everything and attach it to that. Okay, so does everybody feel this one's pretty good then too, then? I think it's useful. I don't, I think it's a survey, and he determines if it's good. Leave it vague, right? So if you drive out there, there's a building, then there's a building with a survey.
Because I investigate any.
You still go out there.
I still go out, whether it's fenced, I still go out and look at it. It was like anything, you know?
Yeah. Well, sometimes requiring pictures, because a lot of zoning officers can't necessarily visit everything. What do you think about current photos?
Well, one thing we've added,
I mean, that could be on the application.
we're taking photos of the permit once it's passed and approved. So in other words, you got a fence. If you install a fence or you install a pool, we're going out there taking a photo. So again, we have an idea. So when 10 years from now, somebody says, oh, that's a big same fence. It was, that's funny, because in 2019, this was the photo of the fence.
I got you. Interesting.
Again,
Okay.
we're trying to improve the
This
service.
is very good. This is good. Took 4 months, but that's pretty good, 4 months. Current code, none. Addition, zoning permit shall be required for the period of 1 year after issuance. That's pretty standard, you think? But it's not in anything?
Well, for example, Barrington only goes 6 months, but I thought,
A year? Does that make sense? You paid, okay.
because again, what you have is, you have somebody who
Funds may dry up.
Yeah.
well, we have zoning permits that are still technically open. From, yeah, I got the permit for the shed, but I haven't got around to put up for it.
Now, once we put this in, does this, with older zoning permits grandfather? If someone shows up with a zoning permit from 10 years ago and say, yep, I
I
got
think this
this.
will help you be able to say no.
Okay.
I think it probably still would be, because it wasn't issued then, but you can tell somebody no.
Okay.
This is a false start.
Okay.
Right now, you have nothing.
We could make them expire with an ordinance, right?
No.
No, okay.
Yes, at least we have something.
We have something moving forward, okay? Another addition, certificate of occupancy, an inspection for a certificate of continued occupancy shall be valid for a period of 90 days. We don't have that right now, does that clarify?
And here's one of the primary issues on this. Somebody goes and purchases a house, flip the house, or renovating the house. They came in last April.
A year ago.
April of 2018, for example. So now, we do the inspection, fails for, say, multiple things. And they say, okay, I'm working on it. So now, December of 2019, oh, I need a re-inspection. I've done everything. So now you're only going to re-inspect the items that initially failed. What happened in that over a year and a half? That, took the property out of further compliance. You're basically walking through and saying, well, this is, what about, now the window's falling out. That was on the original inspection,
Okay.
This way,
It was
it's like.
18 months go by, yeah.
Exactly. The property could deteriorate, and we've seen that.
And that's what this is.
In other words, this gives you got 90 days to do the repairs on the list. If you don't do it within 90 days, then you come in for another season.
Okay, so you'll make them come back and start over
We
again.
clean and we inspect the property again, because.
Everybody agree with that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He's dealing with actual things that are
Pay
happening.
another fee.
Sure, they start all over again, right?
Well, yes, they would pay another fee, but the issue is with them leaving it open, because the initial reinspection is covered up with the initial
Free.
fee of April of last year, so they're walking in and saying, I need a reinspection, so they're not paying for it. But again, to me, it creates a significant problem, and we've seen it.
This is excellent.
If Dan has any
Right.
problem with that?
Yeah, I think I had to put through on it.
Yeah, just tell me.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think you're good with it, but I'll talk about it.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, I mean, that's what.
I know I push back on you sometimes because he reads it like a lawyer. And my attitude is, let the other person hire a lawyer.
I have to read it like, yeah, I read it like a lawyer because I have to confront it. Because the first thing I look at, well, attorneys want to say this, when I say that. So I need to say,
Do you have to leave everything?
No, no.
Okay. All right, we're good then, right? Anything else? Nothing else?
nothing else.
Okay.
We do, refer to Councilman Root, do you want to do 6 more?
I say yes.
Next month?
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's great. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
I love the idea of deleting stuff that's obsolete.
Can I ask a question? What is the next step?
Get written up.
Yes.
We would just take this from the ordinance.
Okay, so,
Our legal team is going to write it up.
so what is the timeline?
We
Tuesday.
want this done by next week,
Tuesday.
Yeah,
1 week.
I could get this done tomorrow, and then it'll be, we've gone through first reading of the,
Okay, Tuesday.
And then a public hearing a month later. And if there's any problems or changes, we still have 30 days.
I just wanted to get a timeline.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. Get it done.
Yeah.
What else was there? I mean, obviously, the other thing that's still hanging over us, as everyone knows, is with the master plan what do we do? Master plan
Reevaluate.
reevaluation. There was a bunch of other ordinances that we need to adopt that our engineer's supposed to submit us, correct? Of some recommendation, because we did a master plan review, and the planning board came back with suggestions to, like, for example, in the R3 zone, it set some standard for townhouses and stuff like that.
Can I interject while we have Keith here? Something
Yes.
important Harry and I are talking about. It's on my report before we know if Keith's leaving.
I'll stay till you need me.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, it's, we're having some trouble, Bob, brought to my attention, with a lot of homeowners pumping their sump pumps directly into the streets.
They've been doing that for years.
And we want to change an ordinance or create an ordinance that once we find this, first of all, they are
There's violation rate.
it's causing a lot of challenges,
Mhm.
it's deteriorating our curbs,
I understand.
flooding out the neighbors.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of situations that's happening right now. Can that go on the next 6?
Now, wait a second, you have an ordinance that you proposed where you want the sump pump to go into the sewer.
We cannot do that.
I know it's illegal, I wondered, can't do that. But you said that to us.
Yes, well, this whole thing was provide solutions, and that was one solution at the time, and I could talk to
Yeah,
Bob.
because right, you're not allowed to put it in the sewer.
I talked to Bob.
So what's your solution? We have a solution. They have none.
That's what it looks like.
No, that was my solution, there's no other solution.
Okay, so just let everybody know, the issue really becomes is that the people are supposed to keep the water on their property. How do we do that? I don't know the answer. I really have no clue. One of the problems in Runnemede is that properties are not always real big, right? So you don't have a lot of area to pump it. You can't pump it onto your neighbor's property, because now
You're
you're.
gonna have to do a little, you're gonna have to do a little trench digging and irrigation and have it spread out in your yard.
But the argument, though, that people have done this for 30 years,
Times are changing.
40 years, and we've never told them to stop. So how do we now stop people from doing this?
We do have some properties that some kind of like leach field is not gonna work. You know, you can't.
Then what do you do?
Just, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
The issue becomes when a
You guys don't pay me.
neighbor complains. What happens when a neighbor complains? Do you understand that the solution was to allow people to put it in the sewer, which probably already happens currently. But if we don't go on the property, we don't know about it, once again. They spend money to dig trenches and bring it all the way out to the street. But how do we keep the water out of there? Now, there's an argument, and there's a somewhat legitimate argument, that if you put it in the street, eventually it does go down into the stormwater. But a lot of times it lays there, and it comes out in the wintertime and freezes. And if it rains and the temperature goes down, that same
And
problem
some
happens.
properties are, you know, so bad.
You have to contain the water. How do you contain the
It's not
water?
even the sump pumps that are doing it, like on Hirsch. You know, it's
The way the drainage is,
it's
yes.
the water just coming down, you know, it's.
I don't know the easy solution.
That's a different thing, than somebody pumping out there.
But you realize his recommendation was illegal, though. I didn't say it that way, but we couldn't pass a law allowing people to put it.
And verify.
Yeah.
So it's still, we're still not certain, but we're still thinking and looking and sort of.
I mean, the simple fact is that, even though Mike's right, if we have a problem on, what's the street we just repaved? Phillips? Charles. We have a problem with Charles. Right now, currently, that woman has to keep that water on her property. So, you know, do we drop off a rain barrel to her? You
I
know?
have a picture of Charles in North Oakland here.
Can we give her a rain barrel, or get her to come to our thing and, you know, and say, pump the water into the rain
We have
barrel?
the right to.
Right now, it's not gonna take all this time.
You can see.
How many think it's that much?
15 minutes, I think. before.
You think it's that much more?
There's like.
Depending on where the house is. After mine, it was built on swamp.
You know what?
1,000 gallons of water, you're not talking down a couple of gallons.
So how do we look
It's
at
a problem when the neighbors call and say it's a problem. Right now, we've got.
Charles is a problem. So what do we do?
Well, maybe there are those homes that are creating issues where neighbors are complaining. That's the time to approach that homeowner and say, you have an issue with what you're doing, and we have to look at your yard, because if you do have enough room to have it drain back into your yard, that's what you need to do.
That's what we're telling people, right?
I would ask because if you,
I will, I should call them where.
I forward you
Yeah.
the report on East 11th Avenue.
Yep.
The continuing pumping out, I had a gentleman back in court, and he put it out to his backyard. I've received no complaints since.
Oh.
I think it's an easy fix. You're, you know,
Well, it's the current ordinance says you can't do it. So if the neighbor complains,
You can't do what?
you can't pump it in the street.
No, right.
So keepers out cites them, and they gotta mitigate it. We don't really have the staff or the ability to go on their property, do engineering, and do a perk test, and say, you know, currently you gotta, I mean, I don't think it's silly suggestion with the radar, but, well, it is resolved, because it really,
Only complaint driven.
it's complaint driven.
That's the way it
It's complaint driven.
We don't have to go scaling how many curves are cut out. Complaint driven, right?
And we do that currently.
Yeah, complaints with the public department.
Oh,
Let the roads-
but we're on Charles?
What do we do when we do it in the street? New curb.
Well, we've been leaving them in there, correct?
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah.
You know, and then we need to cycle it. We're on Charles, class example, we put that pipe back in on Charles, but it's illegal. And,
And I keep
but it's
getting.
in current condition.
Well, that's what we do.
Well, I think we need to cite it. Now, this is a classic example where a street has no sidewalk, or no curb and sidewalk.
That's sort of,
No curb and sidewalk.
right, and it's a neighbor fighting now.
Yeah.
They say, what's
That's
going
on
on
the
here?
other side of the street.
I don't understand
That's
this.
across the street.
Yeah.
I think that the way we need to do it, just like we did last time we had a meeting with Keith, we cite people, and then we just keep complaint right until we come up with some solution. I don't see a solution,
I talked to the mayor.
Well,
other than people keeping the water on their own property.
that's it. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
the only area I've advised them to do is pump in the rear yard. Of course, you get the complaint now, my backyard's flooded. But as Harry indicated in one of the memos, it's right on there, you're effectively taking your problem and pushing it
To the
down
next
to
person,
me.
yeah.
So,
Like if-
sorry your backyard's flooded, but what do you
Yeah, I
want to
mean, you
do?
dig a pit, and you dig a pit, and you put stones in it, you know,
I got a
right?
big yard, you just got a small enough yard, you're putting it in your backyard, it's coming right back into your basement, you're pulling it out, putting it in your backyard, go right back in your basement. It's keeping the pump company's business.
Let's say with my property, no guns right behind me. If I pump it in my backyard,
We'll go in theirs.
just go to theirs and go in the deepers right behind me.
That's why you gotta keep it on there. Now, the second thing that I think you ought to do, your next, number one ordinance should be the impervious coverage for residential.
Oh, yeah.
Because we don't have one currently. Only for commercial we have one. We don't have it for residential. So what's happening is, not only are we have a high water table, it's being exacerbated by people putting double car lots, right? 2 sheds. Do you know that? We have no impervious coverage. It hasn't been a huge issue, but there's been a few times where I've questioned that and said, well, we have nothing to stop somebody from paving their whole backyard.
It's going to be 50/50, what is the number?
I think we have to look at what's typical.
35?
Well, you
Other
got
municipalities, it was like 35% or 50%.
35% now,
Has to be impervious.
It has to be, max impervious.
35% lot coverage would only include structures. So the only thing that's taken into account for that 35% now would be the house or garage.
Well, maybe we go to 50% with
You have to
sidewalk.
come up with.
No, because you use the house.
Yeah, we use the house, those are impervious. So when you go to that, when you add sidewalks, which I think you should add, driveways,
So we're saying we need.
People put patios, put a patio that's huge.
Well, no, the house is 35%, so we need.
How much do we need on covers? Give me that.
I would say at least 50%, right? Would you say that's a number? Do you remember that number from other municipalities?
Can we work on that for commercial?
But now in an R, like I'm in an R2 zone, it should be lower than R2 zone. Because R2 zone are larger lots. I say the larger lots, you should have them.
So now we want that for the commercial, and who's gonna work on it?
It's a combination of the engineer and the code enforcement.
Can you get on that?
It's number one on his list.
Got this?
You want,
Impervious is number one
right, number one. I mean,
for the next month.
okay, so we're talking 50% impervious coverage?
I would do a little more research.
Let's go search some other counties.
But I would say R1 is different than R2, which is different than R3.
Check the board of accounts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody has to be the innovator of
I mean, I know Barrington makes,
I think she's got some.
guys, I don't know if you know this, other municipalities, Barrington makes people do a
grading plan.
grading plan.
Oh, yeah.
If you put a garage in your backyard, they do a grading to show where the water's gonna go. You know what that does? Stops people putting little garages in their backyards. You understand what people do?
It's quite expensive.
Yeah. Okay, was there anything else for Keith? Okay, why don't we let Harry go? Because this way, if you wanna leave early. Oh, you're fine? Oh, then we'll move on. We're good with you, Keith. Yeah, you can go back to.
Well, I just want to say, guys, this is how it's going to be from now on.
I love it.
We'll get this, when Keith gets it to me, I can send it to everybody?
Yeah, we just need to.
So I better sure I can hand that to the council, so.
You can't just do that.
Huh? I give it to you? No, I see that, Keith sent it to you. I
Oh, I thought it was
didn't,
great, yeah.
that's why I made copies.
You send it, but they don't reply all.
That's fine.
Just say for information purposes.
Okay.
It almost-
Well, when you blind CC and you reply, then it goes back to the original person, correct? So if you blind CC everybody, if they reply, it would only come back to you.
Okay. So I think you're going to get this before we talk about it, so you can read it beforehand.
No, it's good. It just depends on your.
Yes,
Right.
but if a person just talks directly to him, that's fine.
But don't call me.
Yeah, I think this is a good way to clean this stuff up.
Yeah, it's actually in bits.
Yeah, so the one I'm impervious is the one that bothers me the most. And then, does anybody have another one that bothers them the most? We fixed the garages.
Long meetings from the mayor.
You can't ordinance, yeah. Was there another one? Does anybody remember?
I'm sure we try.
My issue is dead now, but about dogs.
Well, that's a current ordinance right now that talks about barking. We have an ordinance already, it's a police issue, and it's already currently about tethering. We have a tethering ordinance, we have a dog barking ordinance.
Yours was a barking issue.
Yeah, individual barking, how can you make it habitual barking strong?
Oh, you want to look at that? He says that the habitual barking ordinance isn't strong.
It's vague, it says habitual barking, what constitutes?
I have a question, are we getting the complaint?
Yes, Ken?
We'll actually go to the police, because they enforce it. In other words, the police enforce it.
And the police have records that they've gone out there.
Okay, so in other words, I would see.
At this point, though, is the ordinance strong?
Yeah, that before Chief Daly.
That's it, okay.
I'll talk to Chief Daly to go that way, okay?
Or maybe change it
Yeah,
to
we'll-
15 minutes.
Because I'm sure they
Maybe
got,
we'll spare a couple minutes to look at it, always busy.
they got exasperated with me calling all the time.
I know.
You know, there was 14 calls, to the house.
And there's gotta be something for the cops, too. The cops can't keep going out there, that shit going.
Well, one of the big problems is by the time you get there, it could be done.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones. So once again, in my opinion, it's hire a damn lawyer and sue somebody. But that's not, people don't want to do that. They want government to do it. I mean, I know that. I know they want us to do it. Joyce said that, someone said that one of the bulldozers coming. I told her today, tomorrow. Right?
No, yeah, when are they knocking, I got a full list.
Redevelopment zone.
When are you knocking all the homes down?
Next
I
Thursday.
said, tell her tomorrow.
Redevelopment zone.
Your house is first.
Yeah, oh my God. She said, I heard it at the meeting. Wacko.
The truck's on the way.
Wasn't it different meeting?
What size bulldozer?
You believe we have phone calls like that? Okay, we'll move on now.
Mayor, just one more thing if you want to add into that. There needs to be a definition, again, it's not from code enforcement, but the peace and good order. It indicates about, machinery and,
Well, I think we have a noise ordinance, don't we? That
so it's
starts.
nothing to reflect what noise is, only construction equipment, there's special hours, or it can be extended by the approval of the construction
Well, if
official.
you want to put that number 2, I think
Well,
that's a
I'm
decent.
getting this, I think it should be a police issue, because I don't know what they charge them for. In other words, loud radio or something.
Are you a prosecutor also?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a general, nuisance ordinance or something.
Well, no,
Yeah, but his point is what constitutes a noise ordinance? Could be the basketball kid out there playing basketball.
There's general disorderly.
Peace and good
Yeah, there's
order.
general
I
ordinance.
thought there's a state statute for that, isn't there a state statute?
Was there,
It's more code true?
yeah, because again, ours is only
I
for
thought it was
equipment.
statute.
And I refer people when they talk about complaints, other than construction. Construction.
It's very clear.
Because it's construction official, there's limited hours. Whether they're playing loud radio or revving their car, I think there's.
Some of the landscapers, sometimes they really early in the morning.
Yeah,
Well, that's good, that's working, so we have an ordinance against that.
For landscapers.
Yes, yeah, 'cause it's construction, it's still working.
yeah, I mean, you could say.
One town,
It wouldn't fall under my scope because of the fact that it's not construction.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
a lawnmower.
Did you see one town banned leaf blowers? Did you read that?
LA's looking to.
And they want people to raise
Los Angeles
fees.
is looking to get rid of big.
It was the town of Middlesex, I remember reading. Okay, well, that's a good one if you want to talk about that one.
Well, no, I'm just saying, you have to get on.
Well, that's a good one. Okay, that's a good one.
Again, those are some calls that we get, and I turn it over to the committees, again, looking through our ordinance, very limited.
I didn't realize that, I thought it was this statute.
So, again, I don't, you talk to him, see what they do charge.
Okay.
Noise ordinance, 70 and 10 feet.
Yeah, but that's like you said, construction.
Yeah.
Oh, so there
Should be.
you go.
All right, we'll move on, we'll keep going, that was good. Okay, public hearing for ordinance 1903 amending EMS fees, does everybody recall what that is?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I just want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support, you know.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great job.
Yeah, we can continue on.
Thank you, 6 more.
6 more.
Great. All right, so the ordinance was just the fact that we had, this is for when you go and they refuse service. Okay, used car loan for Dina's Auto, not a big deal. That's permitted, it's just paperwork's in order.
Sure.
Letter from DOT denying multi-use trails application, you can't win them all. Resolution refunding a homestead rebate, I guess that person is no longer, it's a total disabled vet. Resolution approving an MVC agreement, the number went up this year, correct?
129.
Jim, the number went up? Yeah, we're at the motor vehicle.
The hours went up too.
So everybody note that, Eleanor, that the original contract was based on a certain amount of hours. Those hours now have changed. The contract reflects that. They've increased the hours to almost,
From 8 o'clock to when people.
so from the time they open to the time they close. That's how it was when we originally,
Yeah, but usually they were just there part-time.
now they're there from the time they open until the time they close, the police. But it is a side job, so once again, it doesn't affect our staffing. It's only when officers are off duty, they go there, and it's a flat rate that we pay the officers, and then they pay us a compensation for
What's the
the,
compensation this year?
it's gonna be like $120,000.
$129,000. $929.28.
But the hours must have increased by 50%, right?
I'll be a part-time.
Yeah.
Does it end up costing the town?
Costs us nothing. Anything, our revenue is a percentage of the cost that it costs for the officer, so we cover all of our costs. Doesn't, if anything, it actually reimburses us for the cars.
Yeah, we buy our cars.
We end up using it as to supplement our income. So it is a revenue generator this year. Okay, we were talking about revenue generators yesterday. A resolution authorizing car to be used for fire training. I don't know that one.
What's that? I don't know that either.
Joyce or Jim?
Apparently, they used to set a car on fire or use it for rescue, and it never was one that we deemed for that purpose. We actually had it on the agenda for auction.
Oh, this was,
And it didn't sell. So they used it in training, but they never designated it for rescue. So we're doing it.
okay, so it was for auction, and now it's no value.
Correct.
Okay. Resolution for police, public works, white collar employment agreements. So our legal team has basically finished up all of the 3 contracts. I hope that everyone has received these contracts. Is that correct? So all members of council need to read them.
Okay, we just got the contracts this week.
Okay.
I thought we were going to get them last week, but we have them this week.
So when you say get them, do you mean that the units have signed them?
From the legal.
So legal's going to go to the units first.
Everything has been done as far as the units go. Legal-
The units sign the contract.
No,
Nothing is signed.
nothing is.
Council will not approve the contracts until the units sign them.
We have not heard back from the clerical or the DP.
So we will not sign them on the May
They were
2nd.
sent, Dan made sure that they were sent to them. I haven't heard back.
They need to know that we will not ratify them until they ratify first. You all agree?
I go back to the
So
chief
that,
with
I'm
that
glad you came up
contract.
because I want to know what the process is too. I've never been here through.
We made a mistake years ago where we ratified prior to the unit. Then the unit didn't do it. And we made a resolution, we approved it. So now, that was a waste of our
Nothing is
time.
done until we get that signed
The
agreement.
police agreement that I have, that we've gone back and forth, is a good agreement. I'm going to organize a meeting with Bill Sampolsky and.
For what purpose?
For them to sign it.
Okay.
They hate to sign it.
You don't need to be there, they should just sign and get it to us. Do you agree?
Okay.
You don't need to hold their hand.
Either way.
The unit should sign it.
Take their vote.
They already did, yeah, let them sign it.
Let them sign it and just.
And they should hand us 3 copies.
Okay,
Execute copies.
so the other ones, just received, I need to review them to make sure that they match what we said.
Yep.
GWU is reviewing DPW and the carnivals, so they're reviewing it at that time.
So I think council should have all 3.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you could forward them to all members of council, I say blind
Do you
CC.
want the forward now without the signature?
Yeah, because let's say hypothetically, someone says they catch something that nobody caught.
Okay.
Hopefully a set of eyes might say, you know what, guys, you put the wrong date on here.
Yeah, yeah,
no.
I'll do that, okay.
All right, so this won't be on for Tuesday.
I would hope that it gets done.
We're gonna try to, we're gonna try
I
to.
mean, it benefits everybody to get it done.
We'll just table it. If
Yeah.
you don't have it that night.
We're gonna try.
I would put all 3 on, and if one doesn't,
Table that one.
we'll table it.
I can get it to you guys first thing in the morning.
Yeah, do
You
that.
all have it.
Yeah.
You can read it, and then at the same time, I'm going to work with, the budget's the top priority, but.
You just forward it to us.
In between, I can work with, is Dan going to be
Yeah,
there? I can work with Dan, and I can go over the things I need to do, and I can make sure that Raphael.
But the units need to know, Raphael needs to know, we will not. You agree that is, they should approve it, we typed it, we handed it to you, you signed it, and it comes back to us, because we typed it. At this point, we typed it.
It's always said that the employee employees, we call it secretary job, the employees usually.
Yeah.
contractors.
Do you think, okay, do you ever have employees type D contracts?
No.
I-
Well, it doesn't matter.
I've never seen
Yeah,
that.
the employer.
Employer.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that all the housekeeping gets done tomorrow.
Okay, beautiful. Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
So I think they're all very good. I mean, obviously, the only thing that can happen is, things can be transferred incorrectly. So, but I think Jim's done a lot, and Dan's done a lot to get it all cleaned up. Okay, so discussion of Keith Knight's proposal. I think that's awesome, what he just did. Discussion of municipal budget, capital budget, and debt service. Okay, so you mind, the finance department, myself, I think Mr. Root wasn't available. I think Mr. Ranieri was there, which was good because he's done, how many? You did four budgets. So Jim, you can jump in. But I think, okay, so once again, there was, I think, a very good meeting in the sense that we have an idea of what we're backing into budget-wise, meaning a goal was to not raise taxes a certain amount. Our goal's still there to do that. However, if any department, there's a need that we need to spend more money, then council has to make that determination. So ideally, we want to be less than $40 in the average home. We want to be lower if we could, but we don't know. Revenue streams are tough. But at the same time,
52.
if at the same time we need to spend more money, really, we only have the choice of raising taxes or some fees, but taxes is what we're doing right now. So at this point, I think the budget's getting very close because all this stuff's going to be put in. What did you say, $40 not bad?
No, the school board is 52.
That's awesome.
147.
I think that's excellent.
So we can go.
They're under the two, pardon me?
I like the 52.
See, we're going to be less than that. That's excellent.
They're under their 2%.
That's good.
So they're under their cap, but it's 52 on 147.
That's good, that's good. Because the regional might be higher this year. Remember? And it's, remember,
Remember what we used as a guide last year for ours?
what, that, the regional or the school?
The $25.
Maybe we looked at that, maybe we'll do it wrong.
I think you said this year.
Yeah, yeah. Once again, everyone remembers the regional problem is the more kids from our town that go to the high school, it's a formula. So the more kids we have, it's a regional school, the more it goes. So we've been up and down all over the place. I'm great to see the baseball team is awesome with all those Runnemede kids on there, which is awesome. Did you ever see that? This Runnemede, Detroit High School, Bill Boys is 7th. They beat Hadfield.
9-1.
9-1.
Ooh.
7th in South Jersey.
Actually, had one. I think they won. They should have won the next effort. That would be great.
You know, your son's there, right? Yeah, I saw some of the names. That was great.
Well, they don't play varsity much.
Okay, but I know that it's a big factor is that we've got the teams that came up. Even though we sit there and argue that recreation may not always be great, this is the fruition of having youth sports, and they get to the high school level and they do well. The capital was the biggest issue of the budget. So capital and debt service are basically together. So every year we've done, I think, an excellent job of spending money every year maintaining this municipality. We're maintaining our roads, we're maintaining our sewers, we're maintaining
wonderful credit.
stormwaters. Yes, I think we're doing well. And our debt service, our debt is half what the state allows us now. Granted, you don't want to go to the state debt ceiling, but Runnemede, if you know this, we're at 1.65. So we're allowed to be up to 3.5. So we're below that. We're less than half of what we could debt borrow. I think that we've done a great job of, we've never had to raise taxes because we borrowed too much money. But I think that's the only way we should do it. We should never borrow money that raises our taxes. So being that being said, at the last previous meetings, Jim has discussed the fact that in the past, that we roll our debt over into bonds. Those bonds are they come due. This past year, one due was closed out. So now we're reissuing new bonds so that debt payment maintains it. So we're coming up with a number that we're backing into how much we could spend this current year. If everybody knows, we did only, at this point, we have $375,000 that we got for DOT work, which was great. We were the second highest in the whole county from DOT granting. Only Haddon Heights was higher. That was for the project on Rowan, Schisler, Woodland. I don't remember all the
We should
streets.
focus on how we repeat that.
We'll try. Yeah. I think we had our drawings were pretty much done, and close. They better be done. So one of the thought process was, I know that the engineer had estimated that the road work would come in hopefully around less than $1 million. So I think what we've been talking about was, we're gonna borrow more money this year. So we got 375 that the state had. I think it looks good if we put, if you don't have skin in the game, people don't think you're worth it, right? So if the state gave us 375, I think at bare minimum, we should double that, the 375 to do this road project, which would get us to 750. I personally think, depending on what our CFO hat, Jim wears, I think that number could be as high as 500,000, maybe a little bit more. So we can almost do the entire project as a bid mark, but break it with the ad alternative, backing into the number. If the number comes out at 875, which I don't say it to the people who are over and not watching this video, they'll get the entire project. If the project comes in more than how much money we have, we just carve out, like we did, remember on Green Avenue?
We did so
stopped
much
on
on
Green.
Washington,
Yes,
and so, yeah.
we didn't do it all of
Do
Washington.
you have an idea where we're going next?
The next year, I don't know. It would be the engineering committee's decision what roads would be after this road.
I thought we had a list. Did we have a
We haven't
list?
done the DOT application for next year. We probably have a bunch of roads that we've always talked about, but to get money, they have to meet a certain criteria. So even though we might all agree a road like, let's say, Payne Avenue, Payne's never going to get DOT funding. You agree? It would be 100% our own money. Why? It's not a feeder street into a major highway, right? It doesn't. Remember, you have criteria for grants. But it's not to say we don't do a Payne Avenue. We just have to realize it's our money.
You know that.
Or we just have to use our money.
So we'll start looking at where we're gonna go.
But there's two types of applications. There's DOT applications and money we're just gonna spend our own. So, once again, I'm hoping our debt service for this year is somewhere between $700 and $1 million that we're gonna borrow this upcoming year. You agree with that?
Is that over and above the 375 you have?
That's just more. So, yeah, if we have 750 and then we have 375, we're now spending $1 million. And that doesn't include if we get some recreation grant money. You know, we keep trying to get recreation grant, 25,000, like we did at girls softball this year. It doesn't include this community block grant that we got last year for 250,000.
We did get another $25,000.
We did. But when did we get the 250
What
last
was
year?
that for, Mark?
250 was for girls softball. There was another, 25,000. What was the 220, was it
It was
22?
a Camden County open space funding for girls softball that we did all the improvements.
Yeah, what else?
But we just received an award for another $25,000. What, wasn't it? Didn't we get another award for
We
the
just
lights?
applied for it.
We applied.
We haven't gotten anything yet. The application just went in.
Or we want those lights
So
going?
generally, they'll have a site meeting and go around the county.
Like July, right?
It's just the parking, the lot and the road. It's not the field.
No, it's decorative, it's a starting point. The argument is if we, I know, I'm just got a time frame for tomorrow.
5,000 is gonna get you.
This is a total one.
So-
How much are they?
$500,000 away.
Oh, yeah, it's a million, it's a big project.
500,000.
So 25 might get us to start getting lights up the
Parking lot.
path. So start getting us into the property. So once again, not to get too deep in this, but all the departments made recommendations. So Public Works, Harry put a lot of things in, trucks, sewer repairs, sewer water repairs, there was recreation equipment, police department wants things. The only person who didn't ask for anything this year, guess what department asked for nothing?
Finance.
Council?
Fire. Clerk had money for rugs, I saw it. It was rugs.
That's administration.
The biggest thing we
So
had.
fire guy, a fire truck. Now, they're gonna, I understand you had a meeting, I heard a meeting, you were just cha-chinging the whole time. So, but we'll plan for previous, next, subsequent years. But for this year, I think we really ought to try to at least maximize our DOT funding and try to get more road work done. I think we need to continue to invest in Public Works, I think we continue to invest in the police department. I think they wanted some work done in their building, their area, plus vehicles. I think the finance administration, we need to keep continuing to improve the 40-year-old aspect, HVAC issues, roofing issues, carpeting.
The library's like something else we haven't had is coming in, we gotta start working here, that's gonna pull some money.
And that money was already encumbered in the previous year. So the only thing we might need some money for is any kind of advertising, stuff like that, but that is not bondable money. That's money that is part of our, whatever.
Mark, that being said, have you made any progress on adding to that budget of the engineering fees that we were talking about?
We have to decide what we want to do with the roads. And, but I have not been able to adjust anything, depending on what you want, where you want to go with.
Give me an example, what's the question?
Oh, no, there was a few that I had at the scalpel. I don't know what you want to do with the scalpel, so I can't assign a budget to it. I don't know if we just.
So right now, that's looking down.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say, I think that the two things that we always like to get, I'll give you an example. I was on the phone with Mr. Bach before we came here, because I wanted his little opinion too about the road projects and things like that. And I said to him that, obviously, the road, I thought if we could add some of our money, we could stretch it and get it, everyone knows oil prices are going up. So maybe the thought is have one big project, because maybe next year prices go up and we won't be able to do as much, maybe we can get bang for a buck. But I did say prioritize-wise, I would say that the two things I think the scout building has to be a priority, above maybe the bathrooms at the Harry Whalings building, maybe the Public Works building,
Now, is the Scott building going to have part of the ball field involved in that?
Yes.
Is that going to be a combination?
I think it's the only way you can really justify it. I think the only way you can justify doing the scout building.
When are we going to see some plans?
Well, that's what his argument is. We need to say, he says it's going to cost $10,000, which is would never $10,000 for them to do drawings. I think we need to have a estimated cost of the drawings. Now, the argument that I had with the people in that argument, discussion was, the scout building, that's a variable. How big should it be? So let's just take a quick number. If it's $250 a square foot, a 1,000 square foot building costs us $250,000. So I think we almost have to decide, how much do we really want to invest in this scout building, right?
Does the second story, is it much cheaper to go, the extra footing?
Much more expensive, because you got ADA requirements. Now we have an elevator. So, once again, if we build it ADA, fill it with a one-story, but a building that might be, but an ability to maybe the use, what would the use be for the next 50 years? Do you understand that?
I want to see a combination.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because now you're fixing the
It has to be
bathrooms.
athletic,
Yes.
and it has to have a food service.
Yeah, kitchen, all that kind of stuff, yeah. So the question becomes, how big is it? So for them to come up with a design charge cost, we have to give them a little more information.
How big is the one that we have at Green Acres?
The bathroom?
well, the bathroom, and then there's
That was
storage
tiny.
area.
That was tiny. This side, there's no meeting room or anything like that. And that was built like a brick house, which I don't really want to build. Walk.
It's like 20 by 20.
We should do
It's all bigger than that.
In the scout building is a walkout to the softball.
Yes.
Have all the down softball related stuff downstairs, scout upstairs.
Well, because of the
and have two
Oh, that's
ADUs.
interesting.
This way softball.
That's interesting,
concession
because of the
stand
hill.
Comes right in, you got a walkout, you can have your ADU
But
right into it.
there is a hill back there.
Yeah.
Oh, he thinks it's great, it might be great. The point though is that we need to come up, say for example, we want to build a
Five
five.
builders coming, right? We'll use them.
Yeah, so for him to come up with a price, he's not able to answer him, because we haven't said it's a 500,000, it's a 2,000 square foot building. I think 2,000 square
What do you
foot,
think you want to spend?
I think we can't spend more than $500,000.
So 2,000 square foot, let's go with that.
What's that?
Go with this 2,000 square foot for numbers. Now you get numbers.
You want to figure on it too, give us a proposal? So the first thing we need is a proposal for 2,000, like that.
Sounds like Mike,
You can't,
but Mike is
you would have to
talking
put
two
bathrooms
stories.
for the outside, you would have to bathrooms for the inside.
Yeah, but he knows.
Concession stand for the outside.
They know it's for both.
Okay,
So
so
it's 2,000 square feet for both.
No elevator.
no elevator because you go into the scout building from the street.
The
Because
kitchen's
that's the high
the
part.
RG, right? Or she might be, right? You don't know, right? Mike knows it. Oh, yes. You don't know.
I think that all, when you bring in the hood and all that, then you have inspections. You know, you just want to.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs on a, something you don't have.
Reheating,
They have equipment now, if they wanted to do the air fryers and all that, you don't need fryers with hoods and all that, so.
you don't?
No.
No, they're not efficient.
Yeah, okay. So that keeps the cost, like, spaces.
There's not 8-foot drop off from the front and back.
Actually, it is. If you
So
go
if you're
further
not
back,
gonna transit,
we're gonna make it a separate building. It's not gonna be the building that it is.
Oh, no.
It's about 6.5 right
That
now.
building is going to be torn down.
maybe do a quick shot. So we need a proposal, so we can,
That's a good idea, Mike.
the first step is we get on the parameter, so we just came up with 2,000 square feet. Does it turn into 2,200? Who knows?
But that's close enough.
So if we do 2,000 square feet, that this is this
Going to
multi-purpose
have a
building.
bathroom, it's going to have a kitchen.
Yeah.
Two sets of.
So now they come up with a price, $10,000 to
What
draw.
do you mean two sets?
Now we can put it in our budget, correct? Once we
You don't
know
want people going into the building, you want, for the people at the softball, they need bathrooms.
from the outside coming in. They don't want to go through softball, or excuse me, the scout area to use the bathroom.
So we need four bathrooms?
Yeah, they're back to back. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Same one. It's all built back.
Top to bottom would be awesome.
Top to bottom.
With an ejector pump going up to the road. So you have that. So your parameter is 2,000 square feet, plus or minus for this stuff. The second thing was,
Have you ever walked on property?
yeah, one of the things though that,
So, yeah, it does work.
you know, if it's 8 feet now. So the second thing that I would like us to get started, you remember there was money for putting sewers in, down on those 4 streets, Davis, Evergreen, Sunset, and Sunnybrook. There's money for this, there is some money, but we have to do the engineering. One thing that the government doesn't want you to do is they want you to do the, for engineering, it's soft cost. You've got to do all your plans before they give you money.
Yeah.
So, and plus from what I understand, it's a 2-year process just to get to the utility. And I say, why do we do this? One, because it's good for the town. It'll make the values of all those homes go up. Because, you know, you can't sell your house when people have cesspools back there. 2, it's environmentally sound because you're not supposed to have sewers. We should have done this 50 years ago when Sherrington was built.
What's the cost?
$1 million. But, let me be clear. You're gonna do, it becomes, there's more than just, you have to do roads. So we had to pave roads anyway. So you wouldn't necessarily want to do those roads right away, but eventually you would do Davis, you know, Sunset, Sunnybrook, Evergreen, because you have to do roads eventually anywhere. So it's pretty good. Those roads probably haven't been paved in 25 years. I don't know the last time those roads were paved, if you know that, you know. The reason I say this is 2 years out. The county will offer us basically $440,000, which Steve argues that I'm wrong. They'll waive all the fees to do this project, to get those people off of sewers. So
So they'll pay,
they'll waive the fees. They'll waive the fees.
still cost a million?
Still costs $1 million, but they'll waive the
After
fees.
the wave,
You know, they'll waive all the connection fees. The homeowners will be required to pay a connection fee, which is how much?
$1,200.
That's all it is?
Yep.
Should make $2,400. So they'll pay the $1,200 connection fee, and then they'll start paying us a sewer bill. Because we don't get the sewer rates right now. Yeah,
How many homes are
Is
there?
that all it is?
there's always on.
Oh, it is one. He's gonna make millions of dollars on it.
Yeah, stop. So, you know, but the point though is, I have a great septic system. I paid mine for my own, I paid $15,000 for my own septic system. I would forego that to make this connection, because I know it's better for everybody, right? You're talking about water, I've got the perk. And, you know, water, if the water table goes up, your septic systems don't work when the water table goes up. And that's what happens. When you do that.
Well, the answer
Yeah. What happens if they don't want to connect?
Then after 1 year, they would pay $6,000 connection fee, plus the Borough's $1,200, plus the $7,200. I don't believe we should force them.
The borough gets no residual income, just a one-time.
We do get
Yeah, but they're-
residual. We got a sewer bill of 100,
Oh.
what's our sewer bill?
170, 180, $9 a half.
Well, they're paying, they'll pay for some of the debt service. So if the debt service is $25,000 a year, because it's, the way the government works, it's a long-term investment. The 100 properties alone will almost compensate that $25,000.
It's done for 15,000.
12 homes that are on Barrington.
We're gonna ask them to cut tie in too. That'll help us out. Actually, Runnemede only has 80 houses. We're hoping to get all of Barrington
So
to
we
sign
split
up.
that whole cost.
Well, we'll be the provider, they'll pay us a sewer bill. They'll pay a connection fee to us, just like our own residents. They'll pay a yearly rate, we do that already. Joyce sends out sewer bills to Barrington residents that pay to us already, currently.
We don't want them to be involved in
And vice
the
versa.
project cost at all.
No, we want their support, we want them to, Barrington to give us a letter, we want the county to give us a letter. Everyone says, this is a good thing for all of us. So we need drawings for that, so I told Steve he has 1 week to come up with a proposal to, well, because if you tell me there's a 2-year lag time, we need to know, we need to start a 2-year project.
4 years.
Like when I was in the squad, I started 2 years ago, with the squad.
But if it starts off with an engineer, and the Borough has to do soft costs,
And we're gonna get-
$10,000 to do drawings, we need to have $10,000 to start the drawings.
In 2013, in 2015,
Projects. So
I know, it
what I'm
takes 2 years.
understanding, for something for 2020.
I believe,
Now we need to name it.
At the earliest, 2020.
yes, because if we have to do it, we're only required as a municipality under 10,000 acres, we only have to do a 3-year, right? A 3-year bonding plan, what we're required to do, debt service, debt plan for how many years?
Capital plan?
Capital, how many years? 3 years. So this would be our 3-year, this is part of our capital
We stay
plan.
under 10,000.
Yeah, so capital plan,
Getting
right?
close.
What's that?
We're getting close.
We're losing residents.
Are we?
We lost them.
We lost the line, we lost the line.
84,
8,400.
84 something.
We're down from
3
10,000.
years.
So if we're looking at a 3-year plan, we have to do a better job of putting this in. So I think scouts would be first, the sewer the thing, and then the Harry Williams bathrooms. That's a perfect community block area. You know, there's grant money for some of that stuff. ADA, to put 88 bathrooms at the Harry
They
Williams.
love that. They would love
Right,
that.
that would be perfect, 88 entrances.
So we're looking
The-
at 2021.
Joyce
We're looking
point-
at 2021 for the bathrooms in the
Yeah,
R1.
but Joyce pointed out there's money also, because when we have voting in that building, by having voting in the building, there's federal money that helps pay for ADA compliancy because we use it to vote, which is great.
Yeah. Who looks into that?
Joyce sent me a letter about it, but once again, everything starts with the drawings. You have to have drawings, you have to have skin in the game, and then you can go.
That's how we got the elevator so fast.
This is great. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
So, once again, though, let's make sure we're all in agreement. Agreement is trying to borrow between $700 and $1 million. Just to let everyone know here, if Borough still is sitting on, you don't mind, I'm gonna say, worst thing to do is give the information. We have $440,000 in current bonding that Jim is going to look at that we can, utilize for all these different projects, okay? So I'll give an example. We put the generator in 2012. There's $4,000 sitting there. We're gonna reappropriate that, right? Council will pass an ordinance that'll reappropriate that bond ordinance from 2012, take that $4,000 and buy the rugs in the building. There's money left over from road projects because we got grants, right? So we've got money in and out. Now, some stuff we're gonna keep because we should always have some money for things that pop up. When a stormwater breaks on Reed Avenue, it costs us $80,000, $90,000. I'm hoping we're able to use that
So
money.
the game plan is, after we talk, the balances that are left, I'm going to go through and look at what we decided to purchase in capital.
For the current year, yeah.
I'm going to see, as it is now.
If we could just use that money.
what we Purchase, that using those funds right now, and then the balance. I'll see where we are at the balance. Maybe we can do some more things if you want to keep that debt level, or we can lower the debt level, either way.
By utilizing
Once
that.
Once I utilize that money in the capital, I can, at that point, I can reach out to the bond council, I can ask them how I can redirect some of those monies and use it.
The only question I have is, that $440,000, we're paying interest on that money, is that 440 actual money, or is it like a home equity loan that once we need it, we grab it? It's sitting in the bank, getting interest and also paying interest simultaneously, or what exactly is happening?
Well, when we authorize the debt, we sold bonds, we got the bonds.
Anticipation, that's okay.
We keep it in our capital fund, we keep the funds in our capital fund, and as we complete the projects, it completes those funds.
Okay.
It's currently sitting in the capital account, and we're earning interest on it.
Okay, so we are earning
Now
interest.
we're earning interest.
We're paying debt as part of our debt service.
Yes.
Over 20 years, but at the same time, we're earning interest on it because it's sitting there waiting to be spent. Does everybody understand that? It's a little complicated, because it's not like a home equity loan where you don't pay interest until you buy it. As soon as the council passes a bond anticipation note, $1 million goes in our checking
And we
account.
started on
And then we're able to purchase the fire truck, we're able to, do the road project, we're able to buy the police vehicle. But that money, some of that money's been lingering as far back as 10 years, I think, some of that. 3,000, they're all small amounts. The original $800,000 bond, you might be down to $4,000. So we're gonna sweep that and clean all that money up.
Yeah.
Right, am I accurate with
Were
that?
you able to do things like get the sign down to Harry Williams building possibly?
Only if the bond council, it's a late purchase. So the original bond was for a road. What Jim is saying is, if we want to do some more roads, he can just move that money over and spend it on the road, correct? But if he says, well, this original money was for the generator, well, that might have a different lifespan but it might be able now council can pass a new ordinance, correct? That reappropriates that money to other stuff.
So we want to reappropriate the things that we want to get done.
Yeah, so all that list that we had from Harry and Paul and everybody else, which listed all those things. Yeah, I mean, I think the total number might have been $7 million, right? 3 or 4 million.
And I'll tell you the truth, the sign in the parking lot, I'm sure everybody knows, it's having a big effect.
Oh,
It's having an effect. We're getting, our rain barrel program that is this weekend, if you're available for the cleanup on Saturday, come on out, we're going to have breakfast and lunch. Sunday, yes, Sunday.
Breakfast and lunch.
But, all the rain barrels, there's a lot of signups, people are calling because we're advertising.
Are they hard? Yeah,
That's great.
it's great.
Signage works.
Yeah. So another one, that's going to be great.
So is there money funded for the signs for Borough Hall? Can mention just-
The signs, that project is still pending right now.
What is there funding for?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Part of the building's
I
ground,
just want
yes.
to make sure that
We have funding.
We have
We're
funding.
waiting for a general contract.
We're waiting for the general contract. All right, so I might as well jump on it.
Hold
Oh,
on, 1 second, if you don't mind. I'd like to just set some expectations regarding the time.
Oh, the budget, yes.
Okay? So the capital plan that we have now, the first thing I want to do is try to locate the items that we want to include in our capital plan, what I can pay out of the funds that are already available.
The money's sitting in the account.
All right, so once I do that, we'll be left with a balance of what we want to issue debt authorization on. All right, so that's going to be a firm number. After the budget's passed, we can, because it's going to take a while for this, we have to do an ordinance.
Yeah.
So we have to go through a whole
But
bonding
in our
process.
introduction to the budget, though, you'll have a certain deposit, because we have to put a down payment of
By the
5%.
time
So that money,
By the time the budget comes, I'm going to take off all the items we identified that I can spend now and leave whatever's left.
Okay.
All right? So once I leave everything that's left, we're going to authorize debt for that amount.
Okay.
Okay? Once we do the reallocation of the existing balances now, based on what the bond council says we can do, at that point, we can take a look at what else is left on our capital, and then we can intermingle, because I want to make sure that I reallocate it in a way, based on useful life and different things like that, where we can take the most advantage of the things left after our debt authorization. Okay.
And you'll be able to make that call? You'll be able to make?
well, between him and the bond council, put that all together.
Yeah, we'll all
You know, light purchases, there's money left over from the police car from
And the
last year.
finance committee.
So that money can just save for the police car for this year.
Sure.
And he can reduce how much we borrow this year.
How about Rose? That was it?
It was, I saw this list, and it was there. She loves runs. What, are you rolling around on the runs? Roll
Well,
around?
they're only 21.
Was there wrestling going on that I don't know about? It's not bad.
Yeah, they're clean.
Okay, so we are going to introduce our budget on Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay, do you write that down? Okay, discussion of progress of second floor renovations. So, the only thing that slightly changed is that it's obvious that we need to replace the air conditioning unit up on the second floor. I think we did a pretty good job getting a lot of quotes, and it showed that the more work we did, myself and Harry, and, Joyce was helpful, Jim was helpful, everyone was helpful to get a lot of quotes in here. Mr. Ranieri was helpful, because I asked him, what do you think the number should be? And we kept getting more and more better and better numbers. So at this point, I believe that hopefully, with some of this money that we're talking about reappropriating, because we wanted to spend money, Harry already said that we have to replace some of the units up on the roof, because they're 30 years old. The one unit that we're looking at right now is from 1996. So,
Okay.
96, I think we've got our useful life out of it.
Yeah.
So we'll replace that unit and hopefully even start to replace more units. But, so some of that money, hopefully we'll redo the unit up on the roof. We'll put all new ductwork upstairs, not new ductwork, additional ductwork to make it appropriate for the Board of Education and for the use that we now have. We got prices for plumbing, we got prices for electrical, we got places for,
Now, is all this gonna be done by July 1st?
Yes.
Because they're bugging to get
Yes.
in there.
So. that
The
was
GC
my-
says yes.
That was my point. The GC has accumulated several quotes.
Yes.
And prices. We need to make decisions on what areas to send out.
yeah, so here's what I think's gonna happen tomorrow. Mr. Wozump would like to get together with me and just pick the contractors. And then we're gonna have Mr. Anderson notify them, and they have to do all their paperwork. Because the first person to go in is probably gonna be the framer's gonna come in, frame the walls for the new offices, frame all the walls. Then the HVAC guy will come in and put all his ductwork in and start working on the roof unit. And after that's
I'm
done,
sure there's good ways.
the plumber, electrician will do all their stuff.
Are these guys readily available?
Most of them knew the time constraints from the get-go. We told everybody to get a 60-day window, which I learned from our engineering, we have to tell people windows to get it done. So they all understand the window. Public Works will still have responsibilities for some of the things that have to be done. Some of the work still Public Work has to do. But upstairs, if anybody went up there, it's pretty much ready to go. The demo's done, the prep work's done, we're ready to go. So tomorrow, we're going to issue purchase orders and do that, okay? And I'm believing that part of the legal tonight was we also have a Board of Education agreement lease with them. Do you recall that at all? So as long as,
Did that to Sean.
yeah, as long as on Tuesday's meeting, what I'd like to be able to do is approve the agreement with the school board. Hopefully they're, doing it.
Tonight, they're having their budget meeting.
Yeah, so hopefully they're going to approve it.
And so they can't do anything until
They do
the
the
budget
budget.
gets approved.
Yeah.
And then they'll be able to sign that
And
agreement.
then what I want to do is anticipate that revenue, Jim. Because they're passing the budget tonight, and with that,
As long as I have to sign our contract to sign.
okay, that's what we need from them. Because I want to anticipate that revenue.
I can't anticipate it without a signed document from.
So you get that from Sean, and legal gets that, we need that from them, because, let's be honest, our entire, we're talking about keeping taxes down, we want that revenue here to offset the cost for us fixing the building up and doing all that kind of stuff.
Sean has the document, I'm assuming he's gonna review it, and if it's fine with him, he can sign it, and then we'll sign it.
Yeah, and that'll be great, we'll do it Tuesday night, and that'll be great.
So you know Sean?
Not really, I'm not here.
Oh, really?
Well, I want to know the raise taxes every year.
Oh.
He reminds me every year about his 9-year-old
Well,
buildings.
If you happen to see
I'll
Sean
make it fun, I'll
or
make it
talk to Sean, anybody, just, we'll work together to get that signed.
I think we want to do it, I think it's a good deal for both of us.
Oh, yeah.
They're expending the revenue in their budget,
But
so,
the expectation is July 1.
and I promise it'll be done, and it'll be beautiful.
That'll be-
Before we move on there, do we have to discuss county court?
There was some brief thing that Dan had said about Cali that I think we're pretty much ready to do it. The agreement is done. What Cali Court is, there's a development that was built with a limited amount of homes. They weren't really able to maintain the sewer pump station. The borough's going to, they've already paid all their connection fees, they've already done all that. We're simply going to charge them, well, not really charging them, but we're taking it over, because this way we can make sure it's done properly and things like that. But we wanted them to turn it over at certain terms, correct? And those terms have been met.
All the terms I do believe are met, and it's supposed to be on the docket tonight for discussion, so.
I think it's
all
fine.
done.
I think it'll be done on Tuesday. From what I said, Dan told me briefly, because he had a meeting that he wasn't able to change. I think on Tuesday night, we can take over that. So first thing we'll do is we'll take over the pump station and the inlet, and then the road will be dedicated to the borough. I don't know if everybody knows this, the road was never dedicated. It'll be by resolution, right? The road has to be dedicated, and the land has to be dedicated to us.
That might be ordinance.
Might be an ordinance?
I gotta see exactly what, this person here.
Yeah, as long as it's all done for Tuesday, you're the lawyers, as long as it's done right,
Is that the big bolt down there too?
it's the retention basin. And we'll be responsible for the retention basin, which isn't a terrible thing either. It's a little more grass cutting, but at least we're because what Harry's pointed out under stormwater management, we have an obligation through the state to maintain these, even though there might be homeowners association, we still have an obligation to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we have to do a yearly inspection.
Right, you aware of all that too? Right. So one of the things I think we've neglected over the years, and Harris has pointed this out, that
We
we
didn't have ownership. We didn't have.
yeah, but no, we have basins in other parts of the town, that we have an obligation to keep an eye on.
But Cali Court.
These outfalls, we have an obligation on outfalls, we have an obligation on all this kind of stuff. There's one on, the one on Evesham, Kimberly, we have an obligation to just look at it. The acne,
Yeah.
and things like that.
That's a big one.
But there's other municipalities, in Gloucester Township has, I think, 80 of them. These guys are.
Okay.
All right, we'll go around the board then. Okay, so,
Can I go
Ms. Scully, yes?
first? Thank you. All right, first of all, I went to the senior meeting, and they had their luncheon, and here's the bill. You can pass that on to... And at the luncheon, I talked basically about what was going on in the fire department, about the anticipated renovations that we're going to be doing, and the fact that the fire department will be moving to the firehouse eventually. And they were not aware that the fire company is separate from the fire department. And so they were surprised to find out that the fire company owned the firehouse and that we rented. It was their impression, and this is 100 people, that the fire department was all Runnemede. We owned the firehouse, we owned everything. So I was able to clear that up because the renovations are going to be under the purview of the fire company. And it looks like about 1.4 million. And they would like our 47,000 plus another 100,000, so about 147,000 a year, and to help them cover the cost of having everybody there. I asked them for hard figures, and they're going to get an amortization schedule for me. And also, an application is being made about the ramp, you know, the ramp that we want.
Yes, the road ramp.
Yes, so that's going to cost $2,000. And I know that Freddie,
Just for the permit.
yeah, well,
All right? That's not much
well,
money.
$2,000, but
Well, we still did the ramp and
did you talk with Freddie about that?
Not yet, we were going to meet today, but he wasn't in today, so
Well,
tomorrow.
you'll get that 2,000.
Yeah.
But Pat really wants to get that
We're gonna
application
start
going.
with the permit, but
Yeah.
the bigger concern is the money for the dock. I'm told that it's going to be.
Yeah, ramp, not a dock. We're just gonna slide the boat.
Oh, it's just a ramp.
Yeah.
No dock.
It's already cut out.
That's what I thought, okay.
There's a ramp, that's all.
Where's this at?
Harry, you're familiar with where that's going, at Green Acres down there?
Work feature there?
Yeah, we don't need a whole dock.
Oh, no, just a ramp.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
Okay, so we're working on
Can I
that.
just stop you for 1 second?
Sure.
So I agree that we pay rent to the building now. We
$47,000.
We can increase our rent to help offset their mortgage payment. That they're gonna.
Well, I don't have an amortization
They're gonna borrow the
schedule
money
yet.
and then we're gonna help them.
I would just be.
I just don't know where that 150 came from,
I'm
but
not sure, but I do know that the note, that the payment on the 1.4, we estimated it's around $8,000 a month. That's where the 8,000 times 12 months, that's the number I come up with.
Okay.
That's just a rough
But
discussion.
we don't really know until we see the
We're
amortization
gonna
schedule.
They're gonna
Yeah.
get it, to talk to-
but see, they're also looking, hopefully this improvement, right now, our current rent that we give them, I think they've already given them 47.
Right.
So now.
They want another 100.
Well, it might not be.
Well, it might not be, but until we see the amortization schedule, I can't really
Oh,
make it.
amortization, 50-year amortization. 50 years.
Is that all they want?
Has everybody seen the renovation plans?
Yes, it's awesome. I don't know if everybody else saw it.
Everybody has seen them, and it's going to be
Do you have an
fabulous.
extra copy or just one copy? Let me see, I'll take one.
Scheme 1, Scheme 2. I don't have an extra copy,
Yeah.
but I will. Yeah, and here. So that was the fire department. I haven't met yet with the police department, but I understand there's a young gentleman that we'll be meeting with in a couple weeks who is going to be a new hire, and he'll be a class 2. The chief approached me about the fact that we have 2 sergeants that took the captain's exam, and he'd like to make us have a decision on who's going to be the next captain. And I told him that until the contract is signed and until the budget is passed, there will be no decision by the council on that. So the chief is kind of just holding tight. As far as the seniors, again, I did go, and they have a problem with some lighting in the seniors' meeting room. There's some lights out between the 2 closets, and they asked if they could have those lights put back on. They just need bulbs in the light fixtures. So it's between the 2 closets, you'll see 2 lights. They did complain about that, so if you could look into that, I appreciate it, Harry. Then I went to the RY for the, and it was very disappointing for me because I've been going to that meeting and that wonderful event for many, 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 many years.
Opening day.
Opening day, and it was always with 200 kids on the field, and you could count them. We only have 1 team, 2 teams. It's kind of sad that our young people aren't coming out and supporting our sports programs. So it was a little disappointing to see only
I
one.
think that's only for baseball. you're talking about.
Yeah, baseball.
Basketball, we had 300 kids. So, but,
The sports are changing. Right now, there's.
But baseball, I understand, just want to baseball.
Baseball is expensive to play. You got the bats, the gloves, the cleats that the parents have to buy. Soccer is a lot less in the spring, and there's a lot of spring soccer. Kids are still playing sports,
But
but they're shifting. And it's not,
I feel it's about the hardness of the ball, Mrs. Kelly, personally. They
That's
don't want their kids playing with the harder balls.
Really?
They want the nice softball with the air.
But I thought there was a lot of, there was 5 T-ball teams this year. Is that-
there's a good amount, it's coming back up, but it's not the,
it's not what I was always used
well,
to.
no.
But they've had soccer there, was it combined soccer?
No, it was just baseball.
Okay, because previous years there was the soccer teams. the little
Yeah,
kids.
the soccer, there's about 80 friends.
Did they have an opening day for soccer or? they didn't?
No,
That's for spring.
No, but that's spring.
It's just one subject I talked to Harry about it. You know, the building's in pretty terrible shape. Craig had seen it.
Oh, the bathrooms?
Sure.
You know, they were serving food through a window that had cobwebs and bugs all over it. We got a broom and swept it all over.
Okay, there's two separate things there. Let me just stop you for a second. Because yesterday we had a meeting, there's money in the bond, so it's a bit, there's a difference, it's an improvement versus maintenance.
Maintenance.
So certain things are bondable. Like I said, if we want to replace windows and doors, which I think Harry had suggested, that's a bondable thing. We go get a quote, get the stuff done. As for keeping the place clean, that's a bigger opportunity for the volunteers to do the cleaning.
Right, well, we go
Now, the
back-
borough can do some stuff. I think the borough can patch the walls and do some painting, but the volunteers are not recruited for doing that stuff.
Do we have volunteers for that?
I'm not there anymore. My son is,
Who's there?
you know.
Who's there?
Not there.
We just, it is what it is. Let it
We
go.
keep talking, yeah, to an extent, yes. But we do our part. We maintain the field because we're liable for all the fields. We make them look good because you know what? It's our municipality. You know, let's be clear. Our basketball is flourishing. Our soccer is flourishing. You know, our relationship with St. Teresa and their volleyball is doing great. You know, the high school relationship is doing great.
I haven't finished my report.
Soccer, girls softball still does pretty strong, right?
I would like to finish my report.
So the
now.
condition on that.
He hijacked
I'm
it.
sorry, the condition that.
Let her finish it.
Not indicative of
Let her finish
sports
it.
facility.
That's part of it, right?
I'm also trustee of Reimagine Runnemede. And this week, I sent the application for the 501c3, and that should be approved within the next week. And after that, we'll be making the IRS application, and then we'll be off and running once we get our EIN and open up our checking account. And thank you, Councilman, for putting the money forward for the 501c3. At the meeting, on Thursday, we talked about Tree City, which was granted to the city of Gloucester. It requires an ordinance, it requires a tree commission, but these are important things, and if we want to make Runnemede a better mile, these are things we should be looking at. And if we do these things for the Tree City, we get 10 points, which would raise up to silver. We would go from bronze to silver as far as,
Yeah, we're talking about it.
yeah. So Reimagine Runnemede is all about the arts. Reimagine Runnemede will be at the festival in June, on June 2nd. The Firehouse is having their big festival. And we will be doing a pop-up mural, and they will be painting the mural as part of the community. It'll be Triton art students painting. And along with that, and the next space is going to be an inspiration board. And this is interactive because the people will be able to go up and write whatever they want on the inspiration board. So I made that application, and I'll be getting the packet to fill out, and we'll be taking 2 spaces. So Reimagine Runnemede is going to be off and running, and I just wanted to let everybody know that the arts are going to be an important part of the revitalization of this community. And we're intent on doing a good job on that. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I just want to let you know, Mrs. Kelly, that we have put some money into the budget, like I said, we were going to do for, there were 2 parts. One was for the facade.
So the grant program, we're a dollar for dollar, match some of the businesses that are already there to improve their facades. We're going to put some money in the budget for that.
And for the murals.
How much was that?
5,000 for the murals, 10,000 for the facade.
I think it was the opposite, right? Was it 10,000
Well,
for the art?
well, no,
5,000 for the facade.
We made an application for
It
$5,000.
doesn't help needed, but it could be flipped.
This is a grant that we wrote, and we made the application for. The grant was written by Dan White, and with Ken Leap assisting. And we haven't gotten a word yet. We won't know until the end of May.
There were 45 applicants?
Yeah.
And they chose 5. Now we have.
And we won't know who the 5 are.
Ken and I believe Rochelle are going to be going, I'm probably going to go to present why we should get the $5,000 grant. So you might want to go. When I get a date, I'll let you know.
So there are 45
We have a big
applicants?
presentation out there. We're one of the 5, which is fantastic.
We're one of the 5.
5 out of 45.
That's who that are going to get it.
Yeah.
So it's done deal.
No.
No,
We got only one gets it.
Only
Yeah.
one? Oh, from 45 you made it to the first, cut down to 5.
5.
We're going to get it.
Wow.
We're gonna get it, we're gonna get it.
But you happy about the $10,000?
Oh, thank you.
It's
Thank you
10,000
so
and
much.
5,000 for the facade. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor? Jim Scott. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Yeah, the facade is $5,000, and the art and beautification fund is 10,000.
Yeah.
So that's a lot, that's a good
A lot of
start.
numbers going on in my head. but
Now,
Good start.
when we open up our bank account, how does that work?
I can explain that to you.
Okay,
Well, the bank account has nothing to do with the borough's money.
no,
The borough's money will supplement.
okay.
I can help you.
Yeah, but if
budget.
there was donations made in, that can offset. Remember, the very similar way that.
Well, when you're a 501c3, you expect donations.
Yeah, so very similar way, remember Bob got the money for the memorial, so, you know, the borough got money, but we ended up getting the grant, it all worked out nice, so hopefully we can work together.
Okay,
Yeah, we will. That'd be
Great.
and thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Neary, will you go last?
What do you know, Mike? We kind of covered a lot of what I wanted to talk about when it came to the stormwater, the pumps pumping into the streets. We covered that. I'm going to pass this around. If you would take a look at these 2 pictures. Green Acres, you know, I live there. I'm there every day or twice a day. That's a picture of my wife in a car driving on the right side of the road, where we're supposed to be, until we complete the walking path and actually go around by the water like we're talking about, because right now it's just a cloudy thing. It's not reality yet, and I'd like to see it
What do you
become
say,
reality.
paint a line?
Yeah, paint a line like I'm showing there. I use some easy out there, a little eraser. Because I walk that every day, and I'm worried about cars behind me, and they come and I hear something, I start.
Bad idea.
It would only be paint, and I think it would be safer. It could be a liability there,
What do you think, engineer, public works?
because that is the route. That's the route that people walk.
Oh, make it a path.
Yeah, he's just saying that paint a stripe, so cars know where you're biking.
Not to,
Look at
not
the one how it is now.
You can even paint
Look at that
a
first
pedestrian or
picture. Pick it up,
something,
Mark, and just slide it over. That's how
That's
it's
before
now.
and after.
So,
much better with a bike line.
So what's your width going both ways and stuff like that? You have to look at it, you just can't. You just
I
can't.
understand. I just came with the idea because,
It's already tight for 2 cars.
Yeah.
but it's also flat. It's all grass over there. It's hard, flat
He's
grass.
got a point there, I know what you're saying. Well, we can look into it. I love the idea, we missed our winter trying to clear the path.
And what you do that with the line, John?
This is the stuff you erase, you know, they look
Right.
like the white out.
You
white.
play with the computer? or anything?
No,
It's
it's
just
like, I'm archaic. So anyhow,
That's interesting.
I would like to, keep talking about certain things about Green Acres, there's not, shouldn't it be a committee or something, or we have our plans, 3, 5, 10 years?
Everybody wants to do anything.
Well, because it's always trying to squeeze something, we should look at that project, that's one of our jewels, right? And we should say, this is what we want to do, this year, 3 years, 5 years. Talking about the path, I know Harry wants to get to it, I know he wants it, and I know you and I walked it, the potential future path.
I'll bring that week back.
What's in our way? How can we get started? What do we need to do?
Well, the permit application for the boat was only $2,000. How much is the permit application to continue the path? We even need it.
How does he not know this? He drug me out there in my shorts, I got put on the next day. Harry wants to get started on it.
More than we went. I know there's tough spots. I know we're digressing slightly, it should be more of a committee, but we could get together, because we talked about it, to start the path. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be asphalt, but the boat ramp, we know there's an application. Do we have any obligation to the state before we put a walking path on our? I know
We got the Green Acres, gotta go to Green Acres.
because they gave us money. So getting back to first, 2010, we were awarded $500,000 to fix up 10 acres. That's how the path got redone. That's how the bathroom was done. The $500,000 was just the path, the basketball courts, some refurbishing of the tennis courts, and redoing the soccer fields.
Hey, it's a great place, it's just room for more improvement.
Then we put our own money in, and we put the bathroom in. That was us, right? That was our money for the bathroom. The Rotary Club put the gazebo in.
Which is awesome.
Public Works did the painting of the railings and took out the, we put some trees down for that path.
So maybe, 1 year, this year, next
I
year,
would say
we get
that.
started, we find out what we gotta do with is it the DEP, who is it?
I think this is an engineering committee type of thing. It gets together and finds out,
Engineering.
how do we mark that path?
It's a matter thing.
Well, you're gonna need to clean up.
I will be at the.
We'll talk about
I'll
it
bring
again, we'll talk about it again.
I've got a sickle. I'll bring a
All
sickle.
right, and I'm just gonna, one more thing maybe, let me see.
Well, that goats was a great idea for that.
I guess the next thing would be, we talk about where we could put another playground potentially, because the dog park that hardly gets used. You know the dog park?
Yeah.
We don't get rid of it, there's another corner piece right after it. It's small, it would be a swing set maybe, a couple of other items to
We used
say.
to have a-
Because it would go right next to
The
it.
dog park
We're
used to
talking
be
about
a
a spot,
playground.
and it gives us a playground over there.
That was a playground. That's why we made it into a dog park, because the kids weren't using it.
No, no, actually,
People complain that they're drinking,
Yeah,
the wood was bad. That's why it turned into a dog park.
Use that?
I don't think so, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I used it once.
I heard that we do use, the dog park is used.
Well, I wasn't saying take it away, I was just saying how to swing it.
But that's why we got rid of the playground, because.
It could just be a swing set, one swing
New
set.
playgrounds are.
Just wanted to bring it, throw it out there, I look it around town, see where it would fit.
Just put the kids near the street, you
Yeah.
know, there's not like a lot.
That's true too. Yeah,
The dogs are okay next to the street.
Yeah,
and that's it, rest of progress.
people stop for all.
Mr.
Well, since we're talking about the sports and the lack of participation and stuff like that, what are we going to do with the supplying things in the spring for sports organization? This spring was very stressful because of what we did down there, and that's not going to happen again, a big project like the fencing and stuff like that. But in the spring, as a mayor and council, are we going to supply them with lime, with dry dirt?
I don't think so. I think it's operating.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's something we've done a poor job of defining all these things, but remember, we're the landlord. We're the landlord. So as a landlord, the landlord doesn't put toilet paper in a bathroom.
No.
But a landlord would fix the toilets when they break. A landlord would provide the light fixtures, but we're not changing light bulbs. So I think we've got to make that delineation
Do
between.
they have an agreement of some kind?
They don't.
We do have an.
We're working
But
on
that
it.
agreement isn't specific about.
There's one area.
I read the agreement. Where does it
There's one
say?
little area he's gotta work on.
There's one area where we add that kind of stuff.
Okay.
They're operating. We shouldn't buy uniforms.
Yeah.
We shouldn't pay for referees. We shouldn't pay for line. We shouldn't pay for baseball. We shouldn't pay for bats.
Bases.
Soccer's. Nets, it's a little tricky, but even that, only because the nets are sort of like the backstop. So that's the one that's probably a variable. But I don't know anything about it. We all were part of sports.
Yes.
I think there's just drawing those little bit of lines, like a landlord versus that, if we delineate
Well, I
those
just,
items.
like,
I don't know why we bought the line. I saw that email, and I just ignored it.
well,
Did we know?
Once we started, not giving them the money anymore, then we took care of the need. So that's where it got caught. That's where it got caught up.
You got caught?
I just, this spring we'll get them the lime, the dry dirt that they need, but next spring I want to be able to tell them going forward, this is it.
They
And,
should do some fundraising.
yeah, and they need to do their fundraising. We will take care of the facilities, we'll do the maintenance that needs to be done on, them, the ongoing grass cutting and things like that. But they're expecting a lot of things, and, Jim has,
Give me an example. What are they expecting that's above cutting the grass and maintaining?
well, now they're looking, we got Harry's waiting on the quote for the dugouts.
That's a safety issue, we should maintain it. That's what started all this.
Yes.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
The insurance company came down and said, we're not maintaining our facilities. They red tagged our bleachers. Remember, we pulled the bleachers out of the girls softball?
That was before Harry.
That was before Harry, I'm sorry. You were there.
They were all,
You
they
were
were
there.
all the height,
Yeah.
they needed backs, none of them had.
Oh,
backs.
it's just fall
The
off.
dugouts were not secured, so those were the kind of things that we did. So that started this idea that we were allowing the borough to be liable for volunteers taking care of something. But it was, we were the ones to be sued. Where I think you're right, maybe the pendulum swung too much when we started buying some line and stuff like that. And Harry took it to a new level where he didn't want the volunteers on equipment that would get us sued, which is probably not a terrible thing. I personally stood in the back of the, what did I stand in the back of the?
Oh, it'd be the weight on
I was the weight on the tractor
Oh.
to keep the
Well,
blades down.
we used to do that, we would do that with,
I was too heavy, so.
we would do
Mike
that,
was driving, I said, crazy, you're crazy.
we would do that with something in our hand too. But anyway.
No, I had two
But,
kids.
all right, so going forward, do they have their line, do both organizations have their line in dry dirt now?
We did, I knew nothing about purchasing dry dirt. We purchased the line by the request that I got from the
Okay.
email.
All right.
And the line, we were just able to secure it today.
Okay, please get them 5 bags each of dry dirt.
Can you please send me an email?
Yeah, I will.
Authorizing that
Yeah,
as
I will do that. And then going forward, they will get their own line, get their own dry dirt.
Yeah, let's specify
But
this.
that is right.
Yeah, and at the same time,
It's gonna be in the agreement.
I haven't paid attention to it, but the second thing is, their financials, we should know. I think Elmer's point about how many kids are coming out, we do need to know that data.
Yeah.
It is. You know, we don't even know the list of the kids, but if we know that there were 5 T-ball teams, 1 minor team,
All right.
one-
Wait.
you know, that helps us understand it.
Well,
Because
well-
then the argument becomes, why are we providing all this stuff when, you know, I mean,
Well-
we should have skin together.
Bob Henry said to me the other Saturday that he signed the agreement, and he was gonna bring it to you on Monday. Did he bring it to you?
No,
Okay.
but you said that you were going to.
Yeah, well, Bob said, him and Rochelle Sabero signed it, and he said he was gonna bring it to you. Now, softball, Joe Perry did not respond. And the other guys the other guys down there are just kind of, you know, trying to hold it together. Now, if they don't come up with these agreements and do them, how much do we push? What do we do?
Just say, come on, get that over here, let's go.
You know,
Jim can call if you did not.
It
it is.
I've thought-
It's been a long process.
The only thing, once again, this is a third rail. You know, right, you can't, I agree, these are volunteers.
They are.
They can quit tomorrow, right? We know this, we've all been down there. All we have to do is keep trying to help where we can.
Okay.
And you might argue, well, we've helped more as a group than any group prior to this.
Oh, for sure.
I agree that we've done that.
Tremendous.
And had we not stepped up, where would these organizations
Well,
be?
They
Who knows? Who knows, exactly. So, you know, your brother, the guy's house to get something. They drive to someone's house. Do you want me to drive, did you tell you?
Kids can't play.
You want me to drive, Mohammed goes to the mountain. We will go, you know, and go get it done. Go to a baseball game. I'll walk out on the pitcher's mound and have them sign the agreement while they're pitching. That's what we have to do. But to sit here and say, he doesn't have to get reelected.
I
The
know.
guy, he doesn't have to get reelected.
I know.
These guys just have to get reappointed. He does get
Yeah.
reelected. So, you know, do you really want to fight with every
No,
parent who came up?
I will not.
No,
But I-
there's a few times we said, do we not allow them to use the fields? No, bring it
Yeah.
on. Me and Mike and you will go down there and cut the grass before that happens.
Well, whoever gets hurt before the ambulance gets there, sign it.
Well, the ambulance, we're liability with it, that's not what he's talking
Yeah.
about. The liability is what it is, you know? And I even said that if it came down to, you know, they didn't have insurance, our insurance is still gonna cover it, correct?
Should.
Yeah, but then why would you let them rely on those fields, knowing that the
You don't
liability
think-
is so great?
But
Can't stop.
we can't stop that.
Can't
It's a
stop.
public field. We took Green Acres money.
Yeah. Anyone can use Green Acre.
Tell them, the Green Acre, we took money that the state says we have to open these fields up for people to use it.
So just barrel through it, you're done.
I'm trying. It's been, I've
He's
been
trying,
barreling
I know,
for 2
you've been
months.
trying and
3 months.
Who's on your
Well,
commit- who's on your
I'm
committee?
not, I don't mean to throw Public Works under the bus,
Yeah.
but we decided to tear the field up. The open day is spring, March 21st, right? When did we dig that trench? 21st? Okay. No, maybe we should have done it. Maybe we should have done it in November. We got the award in July. We got the $25,000 in July. We didn't do the project until spring. Then they dug the trench. Tell them who filled the trench.
Oh, let me tell you, the mayor was down there because he was mad at his workers, and he was so mad, he went down there for his fitness test to fill in the trench.
I thought, because I understand visual, it looked like Beirut. Now, you know, we understand Beirut, but the young people don't understand what the hell I was talking about.
I don't know.
You know what Beirut is? Well, you don't read anything. You know, jeez. But, right, did it not look like Beirut?
Yeah, when the guys, you don't give him enough time to get stuff done.
So, oh my God. So I took a shovel and I filled it in, because you know why?
How big was the hole?
It wasn't that bad. But visually, it looked worse than it was. You agree it looked much worse than it was?
Well, we won't have this spring again.
No. Okay, so here's what we gotta do. How dumb are we that we decided to do that project right before the spring?
Or Parks and Rec committee.
I think we.
I'm not, sorry, I'm not blaming you 100%.
I think we all
I understand.
In February.
Why would we start the project
Because
when no one was on the field in November?
I think those said one of these.
You understand what we did? We started it,
We thought it would get done much faster than it did.
there's too many variables.
Too many things going,
Yeah.
weather, all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff.
almost got held up all completely.
Yeah.
What was the big one?
Well, you know what it was, the
Permits? Oh, I would just done about that.
That wasn't a hold-up. That didn't hold us up at all. The permits did not, I didn't
It
have.
was correct, but it was,
I did the
it
job.
was a standstill, it should have not
I
happened.
can't, because I did it
For several hours, until I found out about it?
And what if you couldn't resolve it?
That's not the question, what if? That was
Yeah.
not the holdup. The
So what's the point where we
The
lost
holdup
control?
was that it was a decision that RGSL was supposed to make when we got that money on what fence that they wanted. We waited month after month, and Harry knows this, month after month after month, and we asked month after month after month, right in these meetings, and we never got a response.
Wow.
So we made a decision, Harry stepped up and said that we're gonna do it. Albeit, maybe we underestimated the time, we underestimated some of the variables, and Monday morning quarterback, maybe we could have done it after the season.
But Monday morning quarterback goes, we don't, like, we're doing the Board of Education because that's it, that way no choice. We know that there's an opening day
We try.
every year since 1926. There's an opening day in the middle of April, right? We've all gone to it 10 times, so that's all I'm saying. We can't do these projects next year. If we're going to do something at the girls' softball, we're going to do it in September.
They don't play football.
Right? They do.
Oh, they do?
But once again, we could close a field or
But we can
something.
also, we tried,
I understand.
we
I
tried.
understand. It wasn't perfect.
Yeah,
We can't do the same mistake again.
It's just, it's a lack of communication on their part, not getting back to us and stuff. Now they're responding a lot.
But let's go get that, let's get American Discount Fence. They should have given us a proposal by now, right? To put the dugouts in.
This was supposed to happen to us today, because you wound up in Georgia or something like that, we didn't receive it.
I'll go down there now.
Okay.
So
And
you
also,
agreed with him.
but I mean, what's the next thing coming up after this? Is basically, sports-wise, is there's summer soccer, right? The soccer goes during the summer?
The soccer stops in, end of May. early
Okay.
June.
But like Harry's always complained, we need to have the schedule.
Well,
If we know the
Barb-
schedule,
You
then we
talked to
know.
Barb Sands, you've seen her a couple times, there's apparently or something like that on.
But are you getting set the schedule? No. Still not getting scheduled.
Well, the schedules,
We're done away with schedules by Mr. Lott's time.
Yeah.
The fields have to be ready by March 1st, and they go until November 31st, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So there's no in between anything to do anything. for-
So even during the summer, you said there's no soccer during the summer?
We're cutting the fields twice a day, and everything else, we're going to spend the money for it, because that's what was decided
Yeah.
from
we just,
That's what they want.
we just.
How
it's kind of
can
more-
the field be ready on March 1st?
No,
Right
March
after,
1st.
right after winter.
Winter's not even over.
I know, how can that happen?
Well,
It doesn't.
So I'll tell you how it happens. Can I raise my hand?
it's a goal.
You know how it happens? What you do is in November and September, you turn the dirt. You spray the weed control. You do some prep work in that time so that when you open up, you're more prepared. Now granted, once again, if you fix the fence in November, think about everything we did. I get the Triton High School guys saying they did a great job, but they even said to me, if we had sprayed the weeds, that barrier makes a big difference. And he said it would cut the work less than half.
But all that is a great expense.
What's that?
The weed field that you need to put down on there and so forth.
How much does we go?
For the ball fields that the company that they used, they bragged about, was over $8,500.
To spray weeds.
Yes, because it's a special treatment. So we took that off the table, we're working on it. Okay, we have a limited budget, we don't have a $100,000 budget to work on the field.
I understand that.
We're not trying.
I know that.
So
If we turn the
fields
fields
over and we're doing better progress this year. with
Oh,
the
the fields
thing,
are
we have
beautiful.
everything.
The fields are
We've done more
gorgeous.
improvements.
Well, we eliminated using a subcontractor this year, which saved us how much money?
A lot more.
How much?
Right.
20,000.
We're still working on it. Yeah, a couple thousand, a few thousand, multiple thousand.
I mean, his bill was over $20,000.
But we had to pay expenses out by dirt and so forth like that, so it's okay, I can't give you a fine.
But I mean, doing it ourselves, we save some money. Once again, I believe everything is management, everything is planning, everything is organizing, and that's how we get things done. So, but communication is something that we're stinking at, and I agree, we're
Well,
stinking at communication.
I gotta tell you, we've tried to communicate with them.
Well, I had a little different experience, you do know that, right? I got the insurance within 48 hours of me talking to the guy. You do know that, right?
To who?
Joe Perry.
Yeah.
Because remember I said, if we don't get it, I'm gonna go buy the insurance myself and go get the insurance. Do you remember that? And we had it within 24, 48 hours, we had the insurance. I called Eli Casenza, found out from Joe Perry that he got a price from Eli, and then he went through some, I don't mean, but, I'm sorry, man, I believe in knocking on people's doors and getting them to sign things and get it done, and things like that. So, all right, are you done? Was there anything else? We'll come back to you two guys, quick. Anybody else?
Everything that I was going to talk about, you had talked about, Jim talked about budget preparation, capital plan, and the CBA agreements, you said can be ratified, we get their signature.
I agree, don't you think?
Yeah, without a doubt.
I would recommend. Technically you can, but I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
And we're meeting Thursday to finalize with Jim the budget.
Yeah, I appreciate the advice on the ratification of the contracts. I wanted to bring that up to find out what the routing was. So now that I understand that, tomorrow we'll get moving on that, and I feel confident we can have them ready for this end. I also feel confident that we'll have our budget introduced.
goal is to keep taxes down.
Yeah.
Bob thinks we should go even lower than the 40, and I agree with him, but we'll see what the number is. Look at the faces.
While we're talking about money, Charlie's all up.
I don't know, I don't bring that up, I don't even know. You asked me yesterday, I didn't find anything out since yesterday.
No, you said you don't know.
Yeah, you said you asked me yesterday.
I'll investigate.
Yeah.
That's a negative.
If it goes too far, we'll get it again. So.
Well, you said you brought it up, I mean, Bob brought it up, we brought
Well,
it
since
up.
you
Let's
brought
sell,
it up,
let's sell Charlie. We did, you and I physically went over it.
So what else got?
I think we need to really consider putting up the public works garage for sale. Now, there's some legal side to it, there's an environmental side to it, you know, so, once again, you understand, if we put the building for sale, more likely we're gonna have to remediate that property. But, at some point, we have to get it done, right?
I totally agree.
You know, I mean,
Maybe now.
we'll get the money a little bit to get it done. I mean, I think our predecessors thought that the longer we wait, it would become cheaper. But it might be, I mean, I was hoping it would just wash away.
What has ever got cheaper? In the history of the world.
Long distance phone calls.
That's better. Now you can call somebody, ask them how much money it is.
Is that true?
Well, that's a late.
Guys, be ready.
Salaries used to make long distance phone calls have risen. That's why you pay so much for the internet and all the technology.
Long distance phone call. I tell you a story, but then it just keeps going longer. So, but I mean, that's something I agree. We have a rental issue we have to keep dealing with. It's not like it's the Board of Education. And it's a building we have to maintain. We just fixed a roof on it, the roof broke. But there's interest in buying the building. Bob and I have talked to at least 3 individuals that are interested in the building. But how much can we get for it, and what's it gonna cost us to fix it? But at some point, we have an obligation, we have to deal with it.
Did you ever do a study on that building?
In what sense?
On the building, on what it needs in order to comply?
We had an LSRP, a licensed site remediation specialist, who we paid to go out there. He gave an estimate of $1 million to clean it up. The state wouldn't give us the funding, and he decided to rewrite his plan. That was the last we saw. We're waiting on a letter from the state saying, when are you guys gonna clean it up? I never opened the mail anymore, he's not completed.
Okay, so,
Since 1987.
are there any rules that could easily be looked up about selling a property like that?
Without the
It's
remediation,
illegal.
you have to get that clearance letter from the DEP. You'll never be
Do you
able
think we
to.
could we hold the person harmless and actually take on the responsibility after we sell it?
The person cleaning it up.
No, we sell it, but we're still responsible for cleaning up, because we agreed to that.
I don't know if that's gonna fly.
Without a clearance letter?
I don't know if there was.
Can we give it to them and make them, and say they're responsible for it?
You could do that, but the building's not worth it.
Just give it to them?
I've seen other properties do that. I've seen
Yeah, you can certainly do that.
Commercial properties do exactly what you're saying. People walk away and let somebody else do it. I've seen that. That was on Burke Mill Road. It happened.
What's the property worth for do it for now?
It was about 300.
But it's gonna cost $1 million to.
$1 million to clean it, so who's gonna?
Cheaper for a private person, they don't want to keep. Oh,
Really?
Correct.
Cut substantial.
So I just didn't look at it, you're the same age.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know anything about the building,
I mean, is it possible for the borough to sell it and then give the property owner money to clean it up, because we could do something like that?
So isn't it, hold on, wouldn't it be in the best interest of the borough, that was a good idea, why don't we just give it?
Who's gonna take it? It goes $700,000 something.
Then didn't we say that
Well,
there's
obviously, we gotta
an
look into
individual
it.
who's looking to do this? Or are they?
So they would wanna know how much it costs to clean up.
Are they?
Most people
expecting
never
the
touch
cost
those things.
cleaned up?
Never.
there's $1 million other ones they could get without having.
Right, so.
Yeah, but there also might be an environmental company that might be interested and can clean it up for a lot cheaper.
Possible. But I remember when we sell,
And we can-
when we sell property, we have to put it up for auction, right?
Right.
So, you know, we can put base, right, you don't have to take below a certain amount of money.
I mean, it could be.
We have the whole, whatever that's called, the whole, you know, maybe we try. I think we should try to
At
sell
least
it.
we're talking about it, that's. the
Well,
first
it's
step.
already coming up.
It's the first step.
But the cleanup, I think you're right, once we go to try to sell title, when title changes, that cleanup's gonna have to
Isn't that
happen.
cleanup like 20 years? It's rough here to take.
Well, see, that's the thing, with that kind of cleanup.
You put a
it's not-
station.
Yeah, it's not a constant, like, 5-month program that you're busting out $1 million.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the whole
$1
length.
million over 20 years.
Well, whatever the length of the.
20-year cleanup, 50,000 a year.
I think they call it residual or something.
We get the water out
It's
to the water.
constantly,
Yeah.
it's remediation, it's just gonna be remediated for the rest of its existence. Basically.
Because
How about we have a meeting with this
the water
LSRP?
table is-
Would you be willing
the
to
water
take
table-
call up and say, hey,
Aqueduct, that's
see
it.
if we can talk to them and see what we can do? Because it is, it's much easier to pay 50,000 a year than it is
What
to.
do you have?
I got a book that thick.
With $1 million.
With 1,000 environmental companies. Yeah,
Who's gonna take it?
somebody might want it.
Doesn't happen.
The interested parties.
Do I get 10% if I find a buyer?
I hate talking to the camera, but it's all recorded. A diner on Route 70 in Cherry Hill bought a dry cleaner behind it for $0 because it's exactly what we're talking about. Because the cleanup, they were willing, it was only worth it to them.
But we can't do that though.
But it was worth it to somebody. Do you understand?
You have to auction it, but you have to disclose that You disclose everything that's wrong with it, all the things that have to be done. With a wrong and everything.
We list it as a contaminated.
Correct. Yeah, you can't, you certainly can't say, yeah, good to go.
So everybody coming to the homeowner, 24, understand?
Well aware. They-
Bob's made a good point, the property might be worth more. I don't know, you guessing. You're right, 12,000 is a nice half, nice house. This is a 10,000 square foot building, maybe this one's for 5. But it's a
We're
piece of
starting the conversation. That's what you gotta figure out. I mean, then you can talk to your provider.
Let's get it priced on. Okay, so let's go to our, Mr. Root, it's yours, all right? So we'll go to our professionals, we'll start with Mr. Walzon, because I'm sure he's trying to get back into this.
Actually, everything's been covered. We've been all
And you're gonna get my lights done at the senior center.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, this weekend on Sunday, we do have clean up in the rain barrel. It's directly in response.
I'll be there.
Our sign, our Facebook, our webpage, Instagram has been doing great because we had over 25 people asking about the rain barrel plans. With that, they're all coming out forward to help out with cleanup and so forth. So before where we only had 5 people, we're already over 25, 30 people showing up. That's not just even for people for the cleanup. So the communication part and what we're spending for that is working. How I also know it's working is for this past week, last week we had the shred event. 4,958 pounds of paper is what was collected.
Wow.
How's that compared to last year?
Last year was not even a ton.
Really?
But this year we had over 30 people from the public show up. And Al, I saw them on board, I saw them on Facebook, I saw them on my page. When you showed up, they talked about it.
Signs are working.
Instagram. So all the social media. With that,
And then we got rid of our own stuff, everyone knows that the upstairs was clean.
so they were asking for another one, because the people saying it was a great idea, like it's going instead of just a county one and so forth like that.
What it cost us?
$375.
Let's like,
But the public loved it, that's
$375
great.
was the company's cost and. But we had.
What we got
a couple
here.
extra guys.
we know what we could do, we could partner with one of these, like a Rotary Club, we could partner with the Rotary and do it
Well,
with
the cost was covered under.
Yeah, but they get to promote it also, the Rotary gets to promote it as part of the, right, Mike? I mean, that's something we've done before, didn't the Rotary do it once?
We did with Trey.
Try
With the
with
run.
the run, that was not bad,
Yeah, with their run.
yeah. So,
But with that, it's.
so the second one you're saying doesn't cost us that much, we do twice a year.
Yeah, and the grant's covered for the recycle.
Oh, the recycling
They
grant.
work that way. Okay, so it's not direct out, only that way we're using the grant reimbursement.
Nice.
But other than that, I mean, we're moving along with stuff, we're taking care of all the issues that keep popping up and stuff, and we're moving forward.
Well,
We're waiting for the wonderful, TC to develop a list of things upstairs. and-
We have to get that organized tomorrow.
And the sign.
He knows,
where we're
the
going.
signage.
I'll text you in the morning for what time we'll meet. All right, anything else?
We're moving.
Okay, Mr. Rachel, oh, you want to be last?
No, I want to say progress.
Oh,
I submitted my report in writing.
was there anything you wanted to highlight that was
We talked
important?
about a lot of it already tonight.
I saw your one inspector went out to the Dunkin' Donuts, is that, you followed our planning board?
They're trying to get a TCO for the drive-through, and there's some punch list items that are safety related to the after
That's
grass.
tough.
It's just there's some things that need addressed.
Strike, something like that.
Yeah, and then they're parking them awkward, in the right spot, and stuff like that. Sort of anything that was safety related, they have to fix before we can recommend a TCO.
Okay.
And they have landscaping, things like that for the actual CO.
Sensitive.
That's what there are. Deluxe is pretty much done.
Did you guys inspect that?
We were out there, so now we just, I don't know if they want to pay after us, or, I know you approved the change order last month.
We did approve a change order. Did they ever send you the bill, Jim, for the concrete?
Is that the
That's
extent of
the,
the?
down the road.
Yeah, to get to the highlights out.
So I just need a,
It'll work, looks great.
Yeah.
yeah, I just have to coordinate.
Yeah. Was there any other additional stuff? They didn't have any other landscaping requirements, did they? Did the Deluxe have any landscaping they had to do?
No, they're supposed to be restriping their entire parking lot.
Well, you have to now, because it doesn't work.
Well, they painted it black, so there's no,
Oh, they painted it recently?
I was here yesterday.
Oh, because he knew, because what happened is, yeah, with the new entrances, you can't get it in, you can't park.
Well, he had that painted a couple months ago.
Because he wanted to get it
He had
done.
service to get moving on, so now he might hold off on the striking until this.
Until he gets the,
So there are things that he's supposed to be doing.
But I mean, we need to close that way.
Well, they haven't given me an invoice, so I'll reach out to Kate.
Yeah, let's close that.
Lambert's moving forward with this Singley Avenue emergency out there. It's a swampy mess, but they're getting that moving along. They're hoping they get the majority of it done tomorrow.
what's going on there?
Stormwater.
Place the stormwater tank.
Remember it collapsed?
It collapsed, and we had to say.
That's number 3 in 2 years.
Oh, God.
Right, we had Bassett, we had Singley, we had Reed, 40,000, right?
That's the majority of the stuff. We have to get a committee set up for your redevelopment. So I'm not
So,
sure.
you know, I think the recommendation was, 6 people, I think, was that right, or was it 6?
You had to have people from the town.
I volunteer.
I know you did.
Yeah, me too.
So,
Well, I don't know,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think the chairman
know
of the
what the
planning
makeup
board,
is.
there's something, I think Steve told me that there's a, makeup. So you help us out, let's pick a date.
okay. All right.
Just send an email and we'll volunteer.
So if we are, you talk about the road program for 375, we're going to talk about
Supplementing.
supplementing.
That's still not enough to do the entire thing. Who's, so we're carrying on prioritizing what you want done as,
So you think based on you think we're short 125,000? To do the whole thing?
well, we can, when we put in the application, we were replacing the curve throughout, so I don't know if we want to now start to whittle things down.
There's a bunch of them, I don't know. You guys can go walk it, maybe go walk it again. But my experience is always costs us more. When we walk it, we find trees that need to be removed or replaced. We still have trees to replace, guys. We talk about tree sitting, we've taken a lot of trees out that we owe people. Mark and I, we owe people trees from 19, or, not 19.
Speaking of tree, can you give me a Washington where you want that tree on softball?
Yeah.
You want to walk it with engineering, it's gotta get these guys in here to walk it. I mean, we think our number's about 8, I mean, we're not positive yet, but we're saying our number's 875.
I thought that was the number, 875 for the total project.
Construction, and then there was the.
Soft costs. Oh, we might be able to do it, and he's got some soft costs.
No, no.
Oh, he's.
So, I mean, we still haven't been authorized to do the entire project.
Yes, authorized. Do you want a resolution from us?
You do have one, but Jim has to authorize.
Did you give us a proposal for the
To do everything.
engineers?
Issue 350.
Well, once I get the engineering.
We'll do it next, we'll do it on Tuesday.
If I get all my engineering,
I just need something from him saying.
Tuesday.
I need something from you.
He said he sent you a proposal for 62.
Yeah, you did, but I need that budget.
For everything else. Okay.
For the others.
Yeah.
Because when we were looking at that finance, there was a column for, I don't know what he called it, it was a soft cost.
Section
I wish I had a photograph of that, because I could see that line.
We never get.
It was section,
That has nothing to do with it. Can't use that one.
it was section 20, it was for soft cost.
Yes, that's all.
Look at his face.
Because I know where your mind's going. I know where your mind's going.
All right, legal, I mean, you're okay. As long as you explain, he knows everything that we have for Tuesday. Board of Education agreement, the, I mean, obviously I agree, it should be signed before we introduce the budget. Those 3 CBAs, if they don't sign them, I say we wait until the next meeting, right? I mean, why would they sign?
I'll give it my best
Cali
shot.
Court?
Cali Court, if that's, has to be, ready and, I mean, the
doesn't know.
homeowners association has to sign it too.
Dan does.
Dan?
You agree?
Dan, I'll talk to him about it.
Okay.
The homeowners have to sign that before us.
Oh, yeah.
So,
We don't have it
Mayor,
then.
who has it?
Dan.
Does he have it delivered, to get signed for them? So he doesn't do it.
I'm not Harry.
He's not Harry. So they don't want that. So they won't have
That's a good word.
I know you don't want to get it. No, I know.
So the Cali Court, once again, if they get the homeowners to sign it, I think they have to sign it.
For Tuesday?
What other things? Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But if it's, can't be done.
No, yes, Mark.
All right.
Mark, can we get together with Shropshire and let him, I've read this like 3 or 4 times, I can't. It just seems so.
Oh, we had a meeting, with them to go over it. The only thing I heard was I was at the urgent care today, and they would love to see a left turn lane ratio. So maybe, from Deptford. We see that was feasible?
It is feasible. There's a turn lane there and no turn lane.
What is it?
What are you talking about?
East End Road, there's a left-hand turn, but
No, I know.
light for you to turn left.
Yes.
You're at the light there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a right there. There's a turn lane.
That's the
But there's no light to turn.
Like a 3-car turn.
This is existing.
Was that in the traffic study?
Like I said, I've read it and I can't.
Okay, so, this part of the meeting is open to the public. Any wish to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Nobody. Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Kelly, second by Mr. Lowenstein, all in favor? Public portion is closed. Is Joyce still there? Is there a motion? Do we have to pay any bills?
Yes, I saw a whole bunch of bills.
No motion to pay the bills?
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Mr. Ranieri, second by Ms. Kelly. Roll call, please.
Mr. Neary.
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein.
Yes.
Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
Mrs. Kelly.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Bruno.
Okay, the bills shall be paid. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Ranieri,
I'll second that
second by
motion.
Ms. Kelly. All in favor?
We're adjourned.
All right, we adjourn at 8:20. Sorry. See how many questions?